Oh, God damn the Christmas. Happy Saturday evening, everybody. Praise be the Spiral. Thank you for the resub, Amok. Very much appreciated. Let me pour myself a drink so I can cheers to you. Drinking. Actually, my wine is wrong. My wine will say that I'm drinking cider, and I'm not. I'm drinking lime and vodka. I found this amazing soda water. So, it's green, of course. You can't see it. All right. It's a low-calorie soda water with lime. So good, healthy stuff with a nice dash of healthy vodka in there as well. Yes, praise be the Spiral. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you enjoyed Resident Evil this afternoon. Those who joined me for that, I quite enjoyed that myself. It was good. It's potato juice. It must be healthy. Yeah, Russian potato juice as well. So pretty decent. Hey, Prince Faze, welcome. Okay, so tonight I'm going to do. I put a little vote in the Discord, and the majority went for the Amiga. In fact, I didn't check before I started, but I'm pretty sure the majority was still going with the Amiga. Last time I checked, let me have a quick look. I've completely forgot where I put it. Oh, it wasn't in there, was it? It was in general. The vote was. Yeah, I mean it's overwhelmingly for the new Amiga. 17 votes for Amiga, 4 for continuing Perseus, and only 2 for Luna. That upsets me. And that upsets me. Vodka is Russian for water of life. It's really, I do like the Russian standard vodka. It's nice. It's quite cheap as well. I mean, it's not an expensive one. I wish I'd put it in the freezer though beforehand, but I forgot to. But never mind. We want dedicated drunken Luna stream. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, so tonight we're going to work on this new Amiga port. So just a little bit of a background on this. The guys at Mega65 approached me to make a game for them. Perseus was my suggestion, but obviously Perseus is probably a bit big in scope to ensure that we get something ready for launch. So rather than kind of commit to getting Perseus done for launch, which I still will try and do, we're gonna do this game instead. So this is a game that we have the rights to do. I don't want to say too much more about it until they give me permission to say so. I don't really want to kind of jump the gun here, but it should be an exciting project. It's If I'm honest, it's not a game I've heard of before. It was I think it was an Amiga only game. It was a public domain or a shareware game. But it was a very popular one apparently. So, sorry, my mic's got covered in dust. Well, that's about it. I'll fix that anyway. Obviously, I still have until the middle of next year. Yeah, exactly. So, I'm not too fussed. I'm probably going to do a port of Luna this year as well. I've got some ideas how to kind of do Luna as a bit more than just a straightforward port. Is to really kind of use the raster rewrite buffer and make a decent parallax scroller for it and really kind of spruce it up a little bit. So I'm gonna give that a shot at some point this year. Potentially I'll just do a straight port of Dot Cosmos, but using like the Game Boy style kind of graphics. I don't know about that one yet. That might come as a deluxe version of Dot Cosmos for the C64. So I'm potentially going to do a deluxe version of it for the C64. If I do that, I will try and do it as a multi-platform release, so I can release it on a Mega 65 as well, which would be a whole couple of weeks of work to make the. Yeah, that's wrong. Let me change that actually because I don't want that to represent me incorrectly. I am actually drinking just soda and lime tonight. Soda and vodka. Let me change that. Uh, where's the cloud bot? There it is. So yeah, I will be. We'll still be doing quite a few C64 things, but I'm going to try and do as much Mega65 stuff as possible. I do still need to finish pick and mix and get that all kind of wrapped up. It's pretty much ready to go. It just needs fixing a little bit. Would a little stream about the raster rewrite be possible to explain a bit more of the tech with a little proof of concept? Yeah, sure. I mean, I can go over it a little bit tonight as we implement it using my libraries, which will kind of implement it for you. But I can definitely do something a bit more involved because I know it's probably a confusing topic for most people, and it certainly took me a little while to get my head around it as well. So, but once you understand it, it's actually incredibly simple and pretty intuitive as well. You've just got to understand the rules of it and how it works and what it can do. But yeah, we'll do that. I mean, this game is going to use raster rewrite buffer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to convert the engine that we've got in Perseus. I'm going to create a folder. I'm going to call it the Perseus engine or something because it's kind of good name for it, or the Olympus engine or something Greek mythology related. And then I'm going to kind of put that in a separate folder in here, and we're going to work on getting both Perseus to run using the external files and this new thing to run using the external files. So it's a little bit of jumping between things. Right, let me add points to you all. I'm hoping as well that this will be the start of me actually being able to release this engine. Because there might be enough by the time this game is finished, there might be enough for me to release the engine under some kind of well, it'd be kind of GitHub, but it'll be under some kind of version control that allows me to kind of update it as we go. So you'll be able to check out like version 1.1 or something, and as long as you don't update that, then your game will work. And I'll do my best, hopefully by the end of this game, to have an API that's kind of set in stone and doesn't change too much. Right, let me just turn this TV on so I'm ready to go. Oh, somebody discovered Moe's and then it and then Andy put Doggo back on. At least you've discovered one now. Okay, cool. Right, let me start the races for you all, and then we'll. What's the race button? There it is. Oh, wouldn't it be funny if this was the game? Pretty sure it's not though. Right, let's test out this. How strong have I made this? Not that strong actually, so that's good. Okay, so the game we're making, hang on, what do I call this? Interested. I'm just gonna call it platformer to be renamed. Let's get what's in this file. I just need to sort these out a little bit. Figure out where that file is. Because I've got two Perseus folders here, but I think one is an old folder that I don't need. So yeah, in fact, one's empty. So actually, I'm just going to rename this one. And I'm going to call it. What should I call the engine? What's a good name for the engine? So it's born out of Greek mythology. So what's Hammock betting on? Hammock's betting on Doc. Oh, good win. Good win. Zeus engine. Oh, I like that. Because Zeus is the god of gods, right? Oh, I like that. Zeus engine. There we go. Also fits neatly at the end here, so I always know where it is. That's good. I like it. Yeah, good name. Thank you, Doxter. Oh my god, how much did you win then, Amok? That was cool. What stock is he? 5-1? I think he's 5-1, isn't he? Yeah, nice. Nice, nice. Well done, well done. Does Amok have enough to have that much to bet with? He certainly does now. That's for sure. Okay, so a little bit about this game then, without giving you the title of the game. As soon as somebody from the Mega65 team says that I can tell you what it is, then I will tell you what it is. And I can tell you who's involved in it as well, which is it just makes it extra cool. Um, so a little bit about the tech specs of this game. So it's a side-scrolling platform shooter. So it's there's no vertical movement at all. It's all just horizontal movement. The main character runs and it's a run and gun basically, with platforms, obviously, as all run and guns are. It's got a really nice soundtrack as well. So we're going to use, I believe we might have permission to use the original mod files for it. But I also know that the artist who did the original music for it is looking for a project to get back into this again, and would has expressed interest in doing this as well. So um, we may be inviting them along to the chat now and again. So that will be kind of cool. I do need to get a mod player in place. I don't have one yet, so I need to get one sorted out. The other thing with the game is it's not too heavy sprites wise. I think we can handle most of this with a raster rewrite buffer pretty simply. Um, it's a typical Amiga game, so there isn't really much in the way of parallax, but there is a copper background. That potentially is going to change. I think on some levels it's a copper gradient, and then on other levels there is something in the background, but they're not. Generally, I don't think there's any parallax in it. So we're going to add some parallax to it, which means there may be a little bit of graphics work in this, but I don't think it will be too complicated. Um, what else? That's pretty much it, really. It's just a typical run and gun platformer with decent music. So what I want to do is I want to take the Perseus engine, which we've got set up now, or the Zeus engine as it's called now, and I want to turn that into something that we can reuse between the engines. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to split the view into two. Let me just close this. Right, there we go. So I'm going to split the view into two, and we're going to have Perseus on this side, and the new game on the. Actually, it should probably be three, shouldn't it? Yeah, let's do three. I don't normally do three, but let's do three. Okay, so we're going to have the engine in the middle, in this slot here. We're going to have the new game in this side here on the right hand side. Actually, I can't see my cursor when I do that. That's weird. Okay, it's very odd, but okay, whatever. And then on this side we'll have Perseus. So new game, Perseus, and Zeus engine in the middle. Uh, we only need Perseus open while I basically abstract the engine out. So the engine currently is a few files in here called framework. And this is what I just need to move. I mean, actually, I can technically just move these into Zeus engine now, which I'm going to do right now, actually. Oops, not that. Take those. I'm going to put them in here. So the Zeus engine should probably have some folders based on things. So what I'm going to do, uh, I think this is all fairly generic. I think I can move it. For now, I'm just going to move them over. So I'm going to do that in the folder, and then we'll just get that working in Perseus quickly, just to make sure that does work. I do need to actually change the file on this to make sure it works with Perseus files, which is basically just renaming the file on the disk. So there is a disk image for it called Perseus. So I just need to rename that one to Toxic Frenzy. There we go. Rename this one back to just disk. That goes to Perseus files. What PG is that? That's Moe's, yeah. Improbability engine. I think that's not a bad name either. I like the Zeus engine though. It fits perfectly with what we're doing on Perseus. Zeus sounds cool as well. It's got that it's got a Z in it, which is always cool in an engine name. Or a Z if you're American. But it's also where's my I thought I'd opened a file. No, I have. Okay. But it's also kind of relevant and means something kind of powerful. Zeus is powerful, right? So right, let's copy those files over. So I'm just moving the files from Perseus framework here. I'm going to copy them. I'm going to paste them into. Actually, no, I'm going to leave the original ones here for now. Actually, it might be worth just leaving the original ones alone. Yeah, I will leave them there. Actually, I'll leave them there, and I'll move these to here. Okay, what I am going to do though is I'm going to rename this folder, and I'm going to call it Framework Old. The reason I'm doing that is just so that all the imports stop working, so that when I go to try and save this, assemble this, it's going to complain and it's going to want to know where these files are. So I know some of them are here, so I'm going to sort them out now. So we need to go backwards one and then into Zeus engine like that. Get rid of framework. So we need to replace framework with that. Okay, let's give that a try. Hopefully that loads. Yeah, there we go. So there is one file it can't figure out, which is in which file? Main 1236. Okay, that's down here. Yeah. Oh my god. Harry Potter. Harry Pothead. Right, there we go. Let's close that file down now. Okay, still got another error here. Okay, so we've got can't open file assets debug. Okay, so that should probably be. Oh wait, hang on. Assets bin debug. What is that? Oh, let's take a look at that. So it's in debug panel. This is the font. Okay, so this is the asset font. So I'm going to change that to assets, and then I'm going to copy that out of here. So hopefully there is there is no debug in here for some reason. I thought I might have copied that over, but I didn't. Okay, that's fine. I have no idea why I haven't already copied those over, but open the tailing folder. There we go. So let's move these from here. Actually, keep those in there and just make a duplicate into here. Okay, so I am going to sort this out a little bit. So let's create a folder. Let's call it assets. There aren't going to be many assets for the actual core engine. And let's create some folders. So we want debug because we're going to have the debug panel in there. And then I guess sprites or yeah, let's call them sprites. And we'll move sprite cache animations into there. Layers. Most of these are just going to be in their own folder, but as I go along, I may add things into them, or I may separate things out into other places. Collisions, should collisions belong in layers? Let's have a look. So let's start opening these up in here. Anim to anim. No, collisions probably its own thing, isn't it? So let's keep collisions in its own folder. And let's put interrupts in here as well. Okay, it seems a little bit weird me putting things in their own folders, but because it's an engine, I'd rather things be in kind of grouped folders like this rather than just randomly dotted around as well. Thanks for the gift sub to Stuart Hurst and Magic Knight, very much appreciated, and cheers to all those subbing. We're really starting to like the vodka and lime. I think I've got it. I think I've got the right amount. Well, I've got the right amount because the soda comes with lime in it. So, and unlike the one I made the other night, it hasn't got way too much and it's got just the right amount in it. So just close that. Close everything that's not part of this engine. Right. Okay. So let me just double check the debug layer in here. Okay. So that needs to be pack one assets. Yes. Not bin. Just debug dot bin. There we go. Right. So that means this is going to change in here. See, it kind of gives the different files namespaces and makes things a bit easier. So layers, sprites. So there's a few. See, there's a couple of things related to the sprites. So there's the sprites, the sprite cache, the animations as well. I mean, it probably shouldn't have. It should probably just be layer on sprite, but I'll keep with the plural for now. It's fine. Okay, let's try that out. So this is the engine in the middle. Let's just try this one. Hopefully this works, and we're just back to where we were with the yeah, there we go. We've got Perseus pretty much how it was last time. Without the yeah, I mean it's not got. We just only started doing it. I think I was putting the turn animation in, but cool. We've got that. We've got this working now with an external engine, so that's good. Now the question is, can we keep it? Can we keep it in line as we work on the new engine on the new game? So what do we need to make the new game? Okay, so one of the things that I want to do with this engine is make it config driven. So there's these config files which define various things. So we're going to start with setting up the main kind of files and classes. So let's keep that folder open. Where is it? Platformer. Yeah. So we need actually let's copy the existing ones we've got from Perseus. So we need a main and we need a make, that's for sure. Everything else we can just kind of leave for now, but we definitely need those. Put that in platformer. There we go. Now the other thing we probably need is the build files. From actually these should probably be in there as well. Floppy IO and Mac. Well, floppy IO should be. So actually, let me create a new folder here. Call it IO. and copy floppy IO into it. For now, I will leave floppy IO where it is, and I will just use this one in the Zeus engine for the new stuff. The reason I'm doing that is because it's used in so many things, not just Perseus. So I want to make sure that doesn't break anything. I'm gonna actually I'm gonna call this utils, and I'm gonna put them. Well, I'll call it utils, and then I'll have one called macros as well. Folder macros, which I can put these macros in. So I'll just copy those both, drop them into Zeus engine. Let's just put them in utils. Copy that one out. The reason I'm calling the folder utils and not IO is because I think there'll be more than just floppy IO in there. There'll be SD card IO for a start, but there may be other things as well, like various kind of tool imports and things like that. I think some of the actually there'll be folder called scripts for most of those, I think, but we can rename these as we go along. It's fine. So macros in there. Okay, cool. Okay, so we've got floppy IO, we've got our macros in place. So now everything is being imported from the Zeus engine. I am going to create a folder. I'm going to call it scripts. And this is where I'm going to put build utils. So I have ASC pass, and I'm going to drop that in there as well. So again, I'm going to copy that from there and drop it into here. An ASC pass is the thing I use that generates the asset files that I need. So I don't think it needs all of these. Actually, I think these are unnecessary. Don't know why they're there. Yeah, they're unnecessary. Don't need those. I don't need that bin folder. There we go. So this is the basic thing we need. So there we go. So we've got a Zeus engine now. Should be able to import everything from there now. So let's start with our make.bat and let's take a look at what's in here. So there are a few things in here which are not related to the Zeus engine. One of these is C1541, which is a tool that you get with Vice, which allows you to create disks. It also lets you create D81 files. It's not just for 1541 files. Oops. There we go. Let's just knock it down one. No, there we go. That's fine. Is that all right? I think that's all right. Yeah. Actually, let's do that until I'm on it. Oh, what have you found there? Oh, 4464. You can tell me what 4464 is. Yeah, which type of RAM is it specifically, though? Which C64 would you find it in? It's very pink. Yeah. No, it's 64K. It's 64K 4-bit memory. There are two of them in this particular C64. Yeah, it's a C64C memory chip. So when they upgraded the board to the C64C from the bread bin, the bread bin had had 8 64K 1-bit chips, and they upgraded it to 4-bit chips. Yeah, short board. Yeah, that console crap one. Actually, it's the one that's in the is the one that's in the console, because the 64GS was just a C64C with the cartridge thing just pointing up instead of outwards. It was even in the same place. It was just pointing up. But other than that, exactly the same. I think most of them don't have the keyboard connector soldered in. I think it's just empty where that is. Some of them did though. Some of them did come with the keyboard pins in because they were like repaired or kind of spare boards that they had from C64Cs. 64 kilobits. Yeah, 8 kilobytes is, yeah, so they were 64 by 4 here. Okay, so let's check through these and make sure all these things are right. Pretty much everything I've got up to this point is fine. In fact, I'm not going to touch any of these. These are fine. The only thing I need to touch is well, I don't know what that is. I don't think I need that anymore. I think that was something I did while I was playing around with splitting files. Yeah, it was a complete waste of time. I did shit with the game that needed to press space to start. Yeah. Um, okay, so I don't need the split, so I get rid of that. Don't need this as well, so I get rid of that. So these are just the aliases that just allow me to kind of call these things without um, having to type them all out. Makes this section down here very neat. This is the only bit I'm going to change, which is the Sprite 65 ASE pass, a Sprite parser kind of file. And I just need to change it because it's now in the Zeus engine instead. So this is going to be Zeus engine, and then the file is in scripts SE pass. There we go. So that's used to kind of build the assets from whatever we decide to make them in here. So let's go ahead and put an assets folder in here. At the moment, we don't have any assets. I'm going to make some temporary assets. We're just going to rip some kind of random messages from somewhere. Sorry, reading the chat. Rip some random characters from somewhere. I might actually use the either this or the Turrican graphics. I'm not sure. Probably use the Turrican one actually because I'm sick of looking at this one now a little bit. So it's got this one's got the old LDTK artwork, and I don't want that. So I'll probably just use Turrican ones. Hey, old Scoop Coder, how's it going? How you doing? Well, welcome to the stream. Welcome to Saturday evening. So what I am going to do tonight is I'm going to do this till probably about 1:30, and then I'm going to play another hour or two of Resident Evil Village. I'm going to try and play that as much as I can over the coming week, and stream it every time I do as well. So you may catch me tomorrow as well, depending on how I feel, which hopefully won't be too bad because less sugar in that, and I'm not really drinking an awful lot. So how am I finding it? I really like it. Really, really like it. It's got the kind of, it's definitely got a more Resident Evil feel to it than most of the kind of last couple of games, because there's a lot more kind of finding, bolt cutter to do this and do that. So it definitely feels figuring out what game the lady was from. Wait, which lady? But yeah, it's cool. Oh, everyone posting it to Twitter. Yeah, she's like 9 foot tall as well. She's ridiculous. Yeah, lady vampire. Yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to turn these off for now. I will grab the Turrican graphics once we get the basics up and running. So this is our kick assembler. Wow, why is that a different one to up? That should be the same as up there. It is the same as up there. So actually, I don't need that line because we already have it up there. So yeah, get rid of that. Okay. So this is just going to say build that file. And these are other files that need to be built. Yeah. Hey, Air Inspiration. Thank you for the follow. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing all right. Welcome to Saturday evening. Mostly. Tonight's wine is vodka, soda, and lime. Indeed. It's all right. I could get into this. To be honest, I could get into drinking this. Okay, so I don't need to build anything else. So I'm going to get rid of these. I'm going to make this file as simple as possible. Okay, one thing I do need to do is I'm going to move this format down to here because this has Oh, it just says disk on here, but I'm going to change that to, well, I'll leave it as disk for now. I can always change that later. I just want it to be in a neat kind of place. So these would be the things that these two lines would be well, actually that line wouldn't be anymore because that would be fine. So it's just this bottom line, actually, just this part in there that you would write, that you would change to change the name of the disk, and that's it. That's the only thing you might need to change. So, uh, oh, old school coder, old school coder's feeling confident. I like it. I like the fighting talk. This is what we need. We need people kind of. The very first one was amazing because of Andy's trolling. Um, him just constantly saying he's doing really bad. That was funny. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so this is the first file that gets run. We know that. Okay, so we need to write that file to disk. I'm just going to call this boot for now, and this will be the chars that we need to add, and then it will deploy. Okay, so now we have something. When we run it, it will deploy. So let's go ahead and look at our main file. Okay, so we do need to import the macros. I'm going to import these from the engine, so we can share these in a common place. So Zeus engine macros, M65 macros. There we go. Source 0 page. I guess we should keep that the same as well. Let's start putting this in. Should I call it vars or? Yeah, let's call it vars. Trying to keep everything in. So I need new folder in a relatively kind of logical order. Go. Okay, so the first thing I need to know is there anything in the 0 page in Perseus which is engine related, or is it something that which can be shared? Okay, so it doesn't look like anything's directly engine related, except maybe this. So we're going to find out when we run it. If this is the case, what we can do is we can use the 0 page relocation to actually move stuff into its own specific 0 page somewhere. As long as we put it back when we're finished, we should be fine, which is what TAB is good for. Um, so we might need to look at these things in here, but we'll do this as we go through. So anytime I need something in the 0 page, I'm going to look at, is it part of the engine? If it is part of the engine, which I believe these will be, then we can move them into the correct place. So as well as the source folder, the vars folder, we're also going to need some other stuff as well. So for now, I'll just keep that there like that. Source vars, yes, 0 page. Did I save that? I believe I did. Yes. Okay. Also, should I? Let's have a look. Yeah, let's copy that same format there. Okay, so that gives us a 0 page file. That's good. This is just basic setup so far. Nothing complicated. Okay, we've got a debug property. We have to set this for the debug panel. So I'm going to put a little note here that says tells the engine to use the debug panel. Okay, now at the moment that's down here. We import this at the bottom here, but actually this should probably be somewhere else. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to make this part of the main engine. So here's our entry point. We import the floppy. So this allows floppy access. I know I don't need to do this, but I'm going to document things as we go across. Source constants, that's another good one. Source files constants, so let's keep that in here as well. Save that, and I'm going to, has that got a const? Yeah, let's do it like that, const dot, and then. Now, again, if there are any constants that are engine related. Actually, I don't need two files open. I can get by on just one. Well, I'm going to leave the main open there so I can load Perseus up when I need to. But otherwise, I'm going to work with these main two windows here. So I'm going to keep that as small as possible just so I can click on it and launch Perseus if I need to. Really enjoying this slime. Really, really enjoying it. I think this is a really good challenge actually for the optimization because it's not too complicated to optimize, but there are lots of opportunities to optimize. So it's about spotting them all and figuring out the best way to do it. It's not like the kaleidoscope was tricky, I think, because there weren't many opportunities to optimize in there. It was kind of about optimizing your tables, and table optimization can be a very tricky thing to get right. I think, as well, I think Zilla showed that with the amazing kind of way he did the table, his own table in there. Um, but I think this is more about spotting all the opportunities and doing lots of testing between kind of one way and another, like kind of just basically kind of trying all the different iterations of how to do things and picking the right one. I think the balance is different as well. As I said on the last stream, I think the balance between cycles and bytes is a bit different this time. Um, you ended up focused on size once. Yeah, I think size played a big role in the last one. And it was kind of obvious because you were timesing your size by your cycle count because the cycle counts were quite high. That meant every time you added one byte, you added up quite a big chunk of score on. Whereas now that the gap between the bytes and the cycles has kind of shrunk, the emphasis on size is a little bit less. Um, so you can kind of work a little bit more on both things. So yeah. Why did the programmer quit his job? Oh, okay, tell me. Because he didn't. I think we've heard that one before. It's quite a good one, but still makes me sigh. But yeah, I mean, he should lose his job if he doesn't get it. Okay, so the thing is do we import individual things or do we import a kind of main thing that imports them all? I kind of think we should import them individually. And the reason I'm saying that, so I'm going to import this after that. The reason I say that is because I don't think um, I don't think it kind of makes sense to import them all because you might not want everything. So that makes you sigh, Mon. Oh dear. You're on version 9 of your code. Wow, okay. You're really going to town on that one, aren't you? Good. I'm looking forward to seeing what you come up with. Definitely looking forward to seeing what you come up with. So it's keeping up on some of the chat here. There we go. Right. So yeah, we'll import these here, but we're going to import them one at a time as we need them. What I want to do is move this debug into something somewhere. Actually, what I am going to do is I'm going to create a kind of root file for all of these. So I'm going to create a new file in here. I'm just going to call it engine .s. And it's just going to have the kind of initial setups like this. And then when we import that here, it will automatically deal with that debug thing. So, and then if we want to move some of these things in, like we could just move sprites into one thing. So there could just be import sprites later. Well, I don't know. I don't know how that would work. We'll figure this out in a minute. It may be that these are better being put into the engine. Again, I will figure that out when we get to it. So maybe there'll be a kind of base version of the engine, and then or you can set it up using defines up here. Oh, actually, I like that idea. I do like that idea. Do like that idea a lot, actually. Okay, I'll have a think about that. But for now, let's just leave it like that. Um, okay, so that means I can get rid of this debug at the bottom, which I have done. So I do need to do the same on this side here. So keep that there. I'm going to import engine on this side. So this is really just a kind of exercise in kind of portability, really making this engine as portable as possible. So don't need that there. Okay, so let's just give that a quick run. Make sure that works. Should do. I don't see any reason why it wouldn't. Another idea from the people who brought you beer milkshakes. Defines in the engine. Well, I would say this define needs to be here because this is related to whether or not we want the engine on or off. Engine.s would be yeah, this is okay, that's what you're saying, yeah. Yeah, so that's what I'm doing in here, yeah. So yeah, this is where all these kind of things would go on, and then maybe what we could have is something like you'd say define I don't know what you like interrupts or something like that. You would turn things on here, and then just import the engine, and then it would know exactly what to import where. Now, one thing I do know, Craig Ferguson was funny on Red Dwarf. First time I ever saw him. Wait, wait a minute. Oh, why is that not loaded? What's gone wrong there? Wait a minute. Are you telling me Craig Ferguson? Okay, I need to go back and watch that because I've only just recently discovered Craig Ferguson myself. So I did not realize he was in that. Confidence and Paranoia. Holy shit, yeah. It was Elvis. He was Elvis, wasn't he? Holy crap. Wow, mind blown. Mind blown. It's only just made me realize I've only just realized that. So that's kind of cool. All right. For some reason that's thrown an error now. The only thing I did was actually move that. So let me just try. Seems to have all compiled here. Why am I getting device error? I don't get it. What's gone wrong here? Okay, let's back up a little bit here, right? So let's get rid of that layer. Let's keep that layer in. Let's leave everything else as it is. Actually, I will import this from Zeus Engine. So I've got to be careful of that things work. Yeah, I don't know why it's saying disk error. It's weird. I don't know why it's saying that. It's a strange one. Card, yeah, it seems weird, doesn't it? Let me just try something. Oh yeah, it's not reading that for some reason. Let me turn it off. Good Warlock. If this works, I'm giving you 5 points just for saying, have you tried turning it off and on again? Because that's kind of funny. Tech support 101. I hope the card isn't corrupt. I've only just freaking. Oh, wait a minute. Why is it not even? It's not even starting there. Print hex not defined. Wait, what? Oh, is it not loaded the Zeus Engine macros, M65 macros? Ah, hang on. Is that one? Have I put it in here? No. Ah, that one. No, I need that one. Oh, what is that about? Let me just check this. It's in under there. Okay, time to actually look at the file. How? I wonder if that's the background. When I get my new place, it's going to be end of November. It's going to be like Christmas time, so it's going to be a while yet. But I'm trying to find somewhere that's big enough for me to. That's not reading at all. Something that's broke. Trying to find somewhere that's the right size, to give me more room to do. Wait, where's the file? No, I haven't updated it. I deliberately didn't update the ROM recently. I do need to update it, but I don't know if they fixed that issue yet. I think they have, or they said they had. I don't know if that's truly accurate though. I need to check. Okay, so it's definitely there. The disc is definitely there, but it's not, for some reason, not picking it up. That's a little worrying. Um, Let me turn it off for a couple of seconds. Yeah, so one of the things I want to do when I move is have a better kind of stream room and a separate workshop as well. So I want to have much more space for things. I simply don't have at the moment. Okay, that's working now. I don't know what that was about. That was weird. It may still not work though. That's the thing. I don't know what I've done here. So yeah, I want a room with a bit more than just this kind of boxy space for streaming. What the fuck? All right, tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to load Toxic Frenzy. It's going to load with the wrong graphics, but I should be able to at least launch it. It's got to be right because I haven't done anything else. Okay, that loads absolutely fine. I mean, obviously the in-game graphics are wrong, but it loads. Okay. I suspect Toxic Frenzy is going to get a few more once they've done the Mega65 kind of update video that they usually do every month or two. I suspect they'll mention it on there as well. So it'd be good for it to get some more exposure, which is good. Okay, but that's working. So then that leads me to think that there's something wrong here for some reason. And I could not tell you for the life of me what that would be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that entire file. I'm just going to undo a little bit at a time until I find out what the hell I moved. Okay. Somebody put 2001 on. Did we already discover that one, or did? Yeah, it looks like we did already. Oh well. Okay, that's weird. Okay, there we go. So here's our first problem: is we've got some kind of import thing. It was discovered already. Okay. I like how SP knows them all. SP knows most of them now. It's kind of cool. I think you know like 99% of them, don't you, or something, not 95%. Okay, so what did I put? All I did was import the engine here. So let me import the engine and get rid of this. Just want to work out where the hell it is breaking. So hard not to. 10 short. I wonder which ones you're short, because I guess it's just the earlier ones, isn't it? Have you got holodeck? Because that's the one I always start on. Okay, right. Something to do with the debug panel being imported here. Okay. Okay. So, okay, let's go and have a look at engine. So it's something to do with this file. And all this is doing is importing debug.debug panel, which would be there actually instead of like that. I don't know why I've got the engine on here. This should be over here. There we go. So all that's doing is importing debug panel. Debug panel is this file here. And all this is doing is importing a character set into a particular location, which is then being used to copy into a sprite. So it's not even. Oh, hang on. It's doing it very early on, though. Maybe it's doing it before. It's doing it too early, isn't it? That's the problem. Oh, no, there's an init there. Okay, so it's only happy. Should only happen after the init or the update. Okay. We do have some macros, but these are used just for the debug. Okay, interesting. So for some reason, importing that here breaks things. But why? Uh, well, one thing is it's imported up here, and that is the wrong place to import it. So actually, I'm going to import it here. It shouldn't be. We shouldn't force it where to import. So that might actually fix it. I think that's the problem. Actually, it's right into a weird place. I think that was the problem. I think that's going to be the problem. All right, let me pour another vodka. Yeah, there we go. That was the problem. So because I was importing up into the kernel area, what was happening was it wasn't actually copying things properly up there because it's a bit weird, and we do the settings here, and that's why it was being imported at the bottom down here. So now by just removing the location of it up here, it should be fine. Ideally, what we also want to do is maybe import our entry point as well here. I mean, I'm not going to do it in Perseus, but maybe that's what we want to do. We want like the main file is kind of our imports, but then we want kind of I don't know what you would call it. I guess we'd call it. Let's move the constants up here as well. No, actually, let's keep that there. That's engine stuff. All right, so source. Actually, no, let's keep it here for now. I can move it later if I need to. Okay, good. All right, so that's kind of working there. So shrink that down. So all I need to do is whenever I change anything in the engine, I just need to run Perseus again and just make sure it works. Okay, so with this in mind, let's only enable the things as we need them. So let's start with the layers and let's look through this. So these are kind of standard setups. So I'm going to go through what each one of these does. Um, so I think I need this. I don't think I can get away with not doing this. So I'm going to leave that there. We enable the 40 megahertz and we turn the VIC4 registers on. We disable the CIA interrupts. We disable C65 ROM protection, which always needs this NOP on the end, which is a little bit frustrating, but I think we're kind of getting used to that now. Then we've got some floppy load stuff, so that can go. We don't need that, which also means we don't need that. Floppy load does need updating to add that tab in automatically. And then we've got a load of initialization set up here. Now, at the moment, we don't need any of this except layers. So I'm just going to move layers to the top, and I'm going to blank these ones out for now. Now, layers, currently, I think it just loads one layer config in. So we're going to need to change that so that we can load layer configs for various levels in. John Wick background. Yeah, so NOP, EOM. I mean, these both meet. They're both the same instruction, basically. I guess EOM makes more sense here, so let's put EOM in. It makes a bit more sense. Oh, weird itch. Let's get some slime in here. And then we've got the draw layers in, so I'm going to comment those out because those are obviously going to change. And then we've got animation stuff, which I don't care about here right now. And then the main loop, which again is really just doing some. I mean, this is kind of bad that we're doing this. This should be in an interrupt eventually, or at least using a frame ready flag sort of thing. Player stuff that can go, frame test that could go, set palette. Okay, palette loading probably should turn into an engine thing as well. So I'm going to leave that there for now. That'll be moved eventually, and sprites we can get rid of. Okay, so this is going to be moved into palettes at some point, which doesn't really fit anywhere in here. So I'm going to create a new folder, call it palettes. And that's going to have the stuff in here for controlling the palettes. For now, I'm not going to do anything with it. We're just going to we're not even going to call these functions. So I'm just going to push them all the way down there so we can't see them. And let's have a look at this. Control, don't care about. Animation, don't care about. Layer, raster rewrite buffer, sprites, clear and draw. I don't think we need those either. So I'm going to get rid of those. I'm going to comment them out, actually. Get rid of that one because I don't need that. And then draw in layers. So actually what I am going to do, I am going to copy just so we can get this working, I am going to copy these things in. And I will call the set palette. So just going to load these in first. This is just so that I can test that the engine is kind of doing its job. And we're just going to load foreground and a background layer in. So that one and that one. So what was it? Foreground and background 2. And then we'll have a look at how these are actually implemented. Okay, so if I run that. Okay, so we're getting a problem now because it's looking for configs. So this is the interesting thing now because configs. Let's take a look at a config file. Let me just turn that off. Simpsons background. So config files are what we use to control the game specific stuff in the engine. So there's two at the moment. There's one for animations, which contains all the animations that are being used, which frames are being used, and stuff. I need to document this a little bit more. It's not very well documented. This is actually in a good place now. This is in here, which is better than it was before. which means it's not in the engine, which is nice. But this is a layer config file. And what the layer config file does is it calls a few macros. And these macros basically contain all the things that are needed to set these layers up. But this file also contains these kind of memory locations as well. So I think this probably needs separating into a separate place anyway. But we can do that. We can do that as part of the layer config rather than part of the engine, which I'll show you now. So what we're going to do, we're going to create. I'm going to leave that one open there, and I'm going to create a new file in here. So let's go into platformer. Let's create a folder called config. And let's add layer config in. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to call it 1.1. And the reason I'm doing that is because what we need to do is we need to have different layer configs for different levels. So we're going to start by just whatever what I don't even know how the levels are numbered. This is just how I'm choosing to do it at the moment. And we're basically just going to copy all of that into here. Okay. So now I have a layer config. I'm going to keep this stuff at the beginning because it's really handy to have all that in there. And I'm going to move this because this is going to pretty much stay the same for the most part. Screen row, screen column. Yeah, this is all going to stay the same. This is something which is just our memory addresses. So I'm going to put this in config as well. I'm going to call it memory config or map config or map constants or map. Don't know. That's Perseus. Do it in the right folder. Let's call it. I'm just going to call it config as so it's our base config. I don't know where I typed that then, but it was where I thought I typed it. Or base config. Yeah, I call it base config because then it makes sense as to what it is then. And all that is going to do is contain these things. And then I can import that here. And then no matter what I do with what I do with the layer configs, these will always import the same. Now, I don't know what's going to happen if I try and import two with the same label names. I'll try that in a second, but I have a funny feeling. Actually, I can do it here. It's not going to hurt for me to do it here. If I just try compiling, what happens? Oh no, okay, it doesn't like that at all. Okay, so one of the problems we've got here is if we look in the engine, so I can just close that down. So now I've got everything in place. Okay, yep. So we look in the engine, and if I look at layers, you'll see in the middle of this there is an import here. This needs to happen kind of before all of this, ideally. Yeah, because there's an init there. Okay, yeah. So this should not be being imported here. This should be being imported by the game at specific points. Now, importing stuff for the game at specific points is not something you can do at runtime. So we need to make this a runtime runnable code, which these aren't at the moment. They're just, these are just basically creating, you can see here, they're just creating variables for various things. So we need to make this these values kind of work per level. Now that's going to be tricky. I haven't thought about this at all. Because basically you import the config. The config sets these values up here. Then when you call init, which is here, it uses these values and the values in the base config to work out all the various things. So actually, it might work. It might work, but we still need a way to call these macros and set these things up on a per level basis, which is not going to be that simple. Hmm. Feature. I like the feature I'm on. Wait, hadn't you already discovered Simpsons? Or was am I just being slow? Am I thinking time's going quicker than it really is? Slower than it really is? Hmm. So to show an example of what I mean by this is if I currently import this file, this layers file, it's going to import this config file here. But I kind of don't want it to import this config file. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this out. I'm going to go into Perseus for now and just put it in here because that's related to the layers. Now, in a way, this is kind of okay. But what we're probably going to have to do well, first of all, let's just check this works. I mean, it should work. As long as I've got the folders right, which I might not have done. The config add. Yeah, see, okay, so that is because in here, these variables should be in engine. So these should be in here. And I'm going to move this into here. So engine is going to contain the kind of setup for many areas. So it's always the first thing that gets imported. So I'm also going to move these macros in there as well. And then the layer file just becomes quite simple then. And this engine file is kind of all the kind of weird setup and variables that we need in order to run everything else. For that window, I'm taking with the idea of making an adventure game. I think guys has to stay out now and itch. Oh, cool. You know, there's also oh god, what's it called? There's a text adventure framework for Mega65 as well, so you might want to take a look at that. I think that might work on Xemu as well. So yeah, you should try that as well. That'd be really good to see people using that. Check with uh if you check on the announcements on the Mega65 Discord, I think it is on there. Is it? Yeah, I think it is. Hang on, what is it? Let me just take a quick look. I saw it the other day. Somebody was announced it. Yeah, it is Osmo. Yeah. Uh, yeah, cool. So you should do that. Get it on there. Get it on there. Get some exposure on there as well. That'd be cool. Okay, any more layers, macros that I need to import? No. So there is a multi-maths routine here. I probably will put that into utils. So I'm going to create a routine called maths.s or math. No, maths. Sorry, it's maths. It's not math. And I'm going to move that into there as well. For now, I'm going to I'm going to import it through here. But what I should probably do is make these libraries So if it's a file like this, what it probably needs to do is it probably needs to do something like this. Um, uh, what is it? Is it if no? What's the opposite of that in this? And then here you would have oops. And then if I import it more than once, it will fail. Then you see. Okay. Kick assembler. Oh, you read the announcement as well. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. No, I always get the wrong manual first time. HTML. Let's have a look for define. I want the opposite of define. The opposite of if. I can't remember what it is. So define. Reprocessor. Here we go. If oh, you literally you have to do this. Oh no, sorry. That there we go. That's kind of stupid, but whatever. So hopefully now this means that if I try and import this twice, it will fail at the second time, but silently fail. So it keeps this. But this allows me to write these math routines a little bit differently if I want to. So here, let's import it at the top up here. As this is in layers, so I need to go back out into utils, maths.s. Okay, let's give that a compile in here. Make sure Perseus works still. Looks like it's working. That's good. Hoping for a loose. Oh, that would be good. Yeah, I haven't got disenchantment. I've actually not gone through any of the background logs for a week. So um, yeah, Matt Berry is good. Lucy's good though as well. Lucy is good. Is it Eric Andre who plays Lucy? I can't remember who it is. Or am I thinking of another character he plays? Yeah, it is Eric Andre. I thought so. Uh, um, sorry, I'm catching up looking at pictures on. I'm looking at a picture of Andy's dog just like sprawled over his knee. I didn't see that before. Wrote on there, I missed it. All right, so let's try importing it twice. I just want to see if this works. If this works, this is a nice little little thing to do. So this, well, it must be working because it's got to this stage, right? It wouldn't get to this stage of loaded. Oh, you don't see the loader, but it is loading there. So now let me just confirm that that is the case by removing. Well, I just need to remove that, don't I? And it should fail. Should get compilation errors, hopefully. Yeah, there we go. So everything I would like to do here is change this to have maths in here as well, just so that there is a namespace for these things in here. There is actually a thing called namespace, but I've never actually used it in Kick Assembler. I'm not sure how well it works, if at all. Let's have a look. Namespace, the namespace directives. So a quick look. So it contains the functions macro. Oh, it works with macros. Oh, hang on. Really? Oh, I don't believe it. I do not believe it. Well, let's try that first. So then in the layers, anytime there is multi 16 or whatever it was, what was it called? Mult 16. Wait, that's, oh yeah, that's right. So it just the one place it's used in there. Okay, so what I also want to try now is whether I can actually put these into a namespace, because that would be really useful. I'm not going to put them in. I just want to test if I can actually put them in, because there's a little bit too much for me to sort out right now on that. But it'd be just interesting to know that they will compile. Oh shit! I think it works. I think it freaking works. That is one of my major gripes with Kick Assembler, and I think it's just been solved. It was never an issue. Let's try running that, and hopefully the only error will appear on this line here. Or the errors will start on that line there. Ah, no, it's syntax error. There we go. So there is an error. Okay, so how do you reference that then? How do you reference a macro in that namespace? Uh, no, it doesn't look like it's working for me. All right, I'm not going to do that. I'm gonna get rid of that. It's a shame, because I thought that was a huge one of my huge problems. Basically solved, but maybe I've looked at that before and gone, no, it doesn't work. It kind of would make sense. So we'll just stick with the old method of doing it this way instead. It's not perfect, but it will do the trick. Put that back. Right. Okay. So we are back on to this working. Hopefully this. You can't namespace constants. Okay, that sucks. Yeah, I stopped using constant. Except in a few cases. Uh, Max headroom is there. Yeah, it is there, definitely. Well, the background for max headroom is there. Okay. That should be maths.multi16. There we go. Should probably make up. No, I refuse to put maths. Okay, it's good. Right. Okay, so let's shrink Perseus down. Let's bring over this. Let's go back to here. Okay, cool. So as I was saying, what we need to do is we need a way to be able to import our layers in a way that's not going to break the multi-level format to this. So I think the best way to do this is to have kind of level loaders as such. And what the level loaders will do is they will you basically oh no, that's not going to work either actually, because what's happening is we're setting loads of variables up and then calling this function, but this function is going to be different depending on the variables in here, or the variables that we configure from here. Now at the moment it's because they're vars, the vars that we've created in this section here in here. um the layers of vars, all of these things here basically. So either these need to be turned into memory locations, which is going to be very hard for this, um, or we need to load a new layers in it each time. Yeah, I think that's probably it, isn't it? I think we need to load this file, or the things in this file related to those constants that we set up every time we change things. I need to have a think about that. I think for now, yeah, I think for now we'll work on the idea that we're dealing with one level, but I may have to kind of play around a little bit to make this work. The other solution could be to keep these things constant, and just load different assets in, which could also work for this game, definitely. But I'd need a more global solution to this, where you can just load different configs in, and I don't have a solution for that right now. So that's a tricky one. Because thankfully these aren't doing very much. The create layer, let's just go into these. It's just setting variables, right? And these variables are used by the layer system. So ideally what we need to do is we need to reduce this layer file down to as few bytes as possible. And you basically just load this in with the level. So the level has a config, a layers.s file, and you just load it in. But I'll deal with that later. I don't think it's important right now. I think we can skip over this for now. Okay, let's load up Sprite and let's think about the level layout. Now, I don't know the exact size of this game. I'm going to take a guess that it's 22 characters high, I would say, with 3 for a HUD at the bottom. So there is a HUD at the bottom. Um, so for now, I'm going to work on that kind of assumption, but it maybe we have to change this at some point. But for now, let's work on that assumption. Let me just load in. What I'm going to do, I'm going to load in the Turrican graphics, and we're gonna convert that to work with. What file am I in here? I'm in completely the wrong folder. We'll make that work with the engine. So let's load up Mega65. Let's just go with the Turrican graphics. The reason I go with the Turrican graphics is because then they're nice and different. I really like the Turrican graphics. They'll fit nice and neatly into this as well. So if I just take not that one, yeah, that one. There we go. So just going to take a snapshot of this at the right height. So let me turn the grid on. Let's do 8 by 8. Yeah. Okay. Let's zoom in. All right. So we need a section that's 22 pixels high, that kind of flows along, not 22 pixels, 22 characters high. So I'm actually gonna, oh, not that. That's not what I wanted. I wanted that. There's not many colors in this either, but that really doesn't matter either. grid, snap to grid. There we go. So what's that at? That's at 104. Okay, they're all the way across. 104. There we go. So let's get rid of that. So this is more than a screen high, though, isn't it? So I don't suppose it matters as long as it scrolls. So let's not worry about that. Let's just let's take a bit off the top up here then. Oops. Don't know why the background is this blue color, but all right, whatever. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Right, let's get rid of that. Okay, so this is our example foreground level now. Now, the way that the engine works, I can basically put all my layers into here, and it will create the level exactly as I desire it to be, basically, with the different layers in. So I don't have to worry about separate exports or anything. Font, sorry, palette, I don't mind, so I'm just going to extend that to 256. I will keep these colors as they are for now. I am going to get rid of some of this just so I can see a parallax layer. So as I say, this is very temporary, so I don't really care too much about this. Oh, that's not selecting for some reason. Oh, because I need that one, don't I? That's it. No, not that one. There we go. So get rid of some of these to create room for background layers. Doesn't have to be perfect. This is really just a temporary thing while I test the level. But I want some kind of background layer in here. Okay, so we've got a main layer. So let's call this foreground. Let's call it FG in here. Let's get my little notepad out so I can make a note of the sizes of these things. Don't know what that is that I've written there, but it looks fairly important, so I should probably remember that that's work-related stuff. Okay, so this is 1102 by 76. So I'll work out the size of that shortly, but 76, that seems wrong. Oh, 176. All right, that seems better. So it should be 22 times 8, which is 160, 16, 176. Yeah, okay, that's fine. All right, that's a relief. Now we need some kind of background image. Again, I'm not putting loads of layers of parallax in here, so I'm just going to grab a sky image of some kind. That's kind of. I mean, that grass looks stupidly high. Let's just put that in. There we go. Okay, so we're going to create a new layer in here. Oh, it's a new sprite. Sorry, new layer. There we go. Call this BG. We're going to drop that. Oh, hang on. Let me do layer, sprite, color mode, RGB color. Paste that in. That'll kind of do, I guess. Doesn't have to be amazing. Let's do it there. Yeah. Now, the thing is, this is probably going to give me like tons of colors down here, but again, it doesn't matter. This is just temporary stuff. Let's move this layer down. So it's a bit. Oh, can I? Okay, so I need to stop doing that. Go right. Okay, and we just need to convert it back to index color now. So to do that, I'm going to go into here, a new palette from Sprite, creates a palette with 200 visits. So you see what I mean? It's filled the palette with blues basically, uh, and black has become the transparent color here, which is actually no, it's not ideal, is it? So let's actually do this different. Let's do new palette from Sprite. So let's do 200 colors. Let's see what happens if I limit it like that. Okay, and then God, there we go, 256, and then hopefully I can just pick them up and move them to here. There we go. If I make that like purple or something like that, but it's transparent color, so you shouldn't be able to see it at any point. And then sprite color mode indexed. Right, there we go. So now we've got an index color background again. Just hoping for another cat background. Even a Christmas cat's my god. Okay, cool. So this will do as just a test for getting the map in. So you'll notice that the background stops here, but that's fine because we can set it to wrap. So I just need to get its position here as well. So let's just take a look at that. So let's turn this one on and just work out where the hell that is. Hopefully, actually, we can get rid of that bit there. There we go. Yeah, obviously, the wrap is going to be wrong, but we can use. Do you know what? Thinking about it as well, this is going to produce so many different characters. This is probably not going to be great. I didn't think of that. Yeah, that's actually going to be a pain, isn't it? In fact, let's take a look. Let's see what it's going to do. Right. So if I just save all of this, and then I go into here, we can start using these things now. Okay, so we turn on this, point it to our new file. So we're going to save this file. Save it as 1.1. That makes sense. Let's go into our platformer assets. Um, let's make a folder called source. We'll have source and bin. Okay, so this is 1.1 map. And then this should hopefully 1.1 map. Right, let's see what this does. Okay, so make directory asset bin chars. Okay, so there's no bin folder. Okay, so that's I actually need to fix the script to do that. It should definitely make that folder automatically. So let me go and have a look at that script, which is now in here. Where is it? Scripts. There we go. Here we go. So let's find make directory. Okay, so this is if it doesn't file exist. Oh, okay. Damn it. All right, I need to update that because it's failing because it's multiple paths. But all right, I'm not going to do that now. I can't be bothered looking that up. What I can do is just make that folder kind of okay. Platform assets folder bin. Okay, so what we've got now, cannot read property colors of undefined. What? Okay, I do need to open that script because I need to look at something here. Read colors of undefined. SP line 97. Oh, have I not got? I should have a palette here. What the hell? Sprite color mode indexed. Yeah. Oh no, why is this failing on me? So it's worked out that there's 2 layers. That's good. But it's failing to find the palette for some reason in the ASE file. That's a sprite. I don't want the sprite one. Tile map. Here we go. So is this failing? Oh, it's the input files wrong. Okay. So this is wrong for some reason. Wait, how is that wrong? It's found the layers. It knows there's 2 layers. Yeah, it knows there's 2 layers. But it doesn't know that there's a palette in there for some reason. Just don't understand. The palette data. So this for some reason is failing. So let's just trace that out. Okay. Can I read colors of undefined before it's even? Wait, what? That doesn't make any sense because it should have logged it here. Okay, so let me put a. Never ending story. Hey. Yeah, it's failing straight away after the layer count. Okay. So where's it loading from? It should be loading from Zeus Engine. It's using -I. Well, it's just input and output. -B is where it's base loaded into memory. Okay, interesting. So it should run this get file thing, which it does. Didn't really want to be debugging JavaScript on stream, but whatever, let's go for it. I hate JavaScript. I hate all code, really, if it's not assembly now. So that's a sprite mapper. It's not that one. It's this one here. Okay. So it's getting to this point and it's calling this file and then failing. But I don't understand because it should be in that case be tracing out something, but it's not tracing out anything. It's like failing at this point for some reason. It's just, oh, I can see one problem. I'm not using that. I should be using that. So at least when I edit, it's in the right place. I swear, but let's see what's going on here. Platform and main.s cannot find constants. Okay, but it's failing before it gets to that. It's failing in here somehow. ASP pass, blah, 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 -I. Do I need to wrap that? Maybe. Okay. Pass is not recognizable as an internal or external command. Why though? That should be working. ASP65 pass. Why is that not working? That's really weird. If I just put that in there. Oh wait, hang on. .js. Am I making a difference? I don't think it is actually. No. All right. It could just be the weird Windows things here. SO file is null. No, it's not because it's showing the layer numbers. So you see here, it's the palette that's defined for some reason. Okay, so that's fine. What I can do is if I take that as an object and just stringify it. Okay, so this is the data it's returning, and yeah, there's no palette in here. Opacity, color depth, number of colors. Why am I not seeing a palette? That's weird. Yeah, I've got that. Did you export with a palette? It should export. It's 256 colors. I shouldn't need to export anything. It should just save. It's that file. I don't know why it's not picking the palette up. Same palette there, but let's get rid of that. That's weird. That is really weird. Is there something about that file type? Hmm. See color mode, more options. I mean, it's index mode. It should be fine. No, it doesn't need .js. Yeah, that's why I didn't have it in before. I just wondered if that was causing me problems with the continuation in Windows, but it's not. For some reason, Windows is not letting me use that alias like it is with everything else. Probably because we're calling node and then something else. So it's not allowing me to. I wonder actually if I did. I probably need double hyphen, don't I, or something. But okay, whatever. It's fine. Why is that file not got a palette in it? That's what I don't understand. That seems like something is broken in here for some reason. Because if I take another file, right? If I let's just take any other file. Hang on. Yeah, maybe I'll try that in a minute, but I shouldn't need to try it to be honest. Just trying to think of a. I don't think a hex dump is going to help me that much, though. To be honest, I'll take the Perseus background, right? Let's have a look what's going on in here. So this is the file that I've got for the Perseus background. Yes, it's got more layers in it. but it's still just an indexed, color indexed file. Actually, it doesn't need 256 colors in this. So I think handles it. It is just indexed. Look, that's all it is. And if I save that as, let's save that as, let's do it in here. 1A like that. You see, it's processing all the layers now, and look, it's found the palette in there as well. So, what is different about this file to this file, other than the dimensions, obviously? Uh, Preferences. That's not the file preferences. So I want like properties, don't I? Edit file sprite properties. Here we go. Color profile. It's index, transparent color, color profile. Shouldn't matter, should it? Looking for a layer with a specific name index. No, it's you see, all it's doing is this is the whole file, you see, and the whole file has a single palette in it. So it should in theory find that, but it's not for some reason. Just duplicate that line, and then I can so get rid of that. See, it's just failing completely. It's got the layers in here. You can see the layers. So it knows the layers are there. It's got the names of the layers in, but it doesn't have anything to do with the palette in here for some reason. It just says how many colors it's got. Color depth 8, number of colors 256. That's it. That's all it tells me. But it doesn't have the actual palette in. So one of the things that is different is, let me check the properties on this one, but one of the things that is different is the palette stops at indexed 89 colors, frames.srgb. That's right, okay. And then this one is indexed 256 colors. It's a bigger image, but still only one frame. Let me try messing with the palette in here. So new palette from Sprite. Oh, no, that's not good, is it? Let's reduce that down to what I need, like that. Save it. Okay, I have no idea why that suddenly worked, but it is working. Error palette too small. Okay, so this is the problem now. So what happens with my engine is what it tries to do. It tries to find. Well, first of all, what it does is it groups characters into 16 by 8 pixels rather than 8 by 8. Yeah, too many colors. Exactly, it's exactly what it's doing there. Or are you talking about before? But yeah, that's the problem now. There's too many unique characters and too many colors in a block. So the way that this the nibble mode works is it needs to use only 16 unique, well, actually 15 unique colors and transparency per 16 by 8 pixel block. But you can see here it's got um way more colors than 16 in this block. There's probably 32 or something in here. But the other thing it tries to do as well is it tries to reuse palette areas as well. So once it's defined a palette of, say, it looks at this block here. Let's pick a block that's, so say it looks at this block of 16 by 8 here, and it decides in this block here there are 5 colors. So it looks for a palette slice. So the palettes are sliced into 16 colors each. So each 2 rows is a new palette, and it um, tries to find one of those palette slices that's got space for these 5 colors. If the colors already exist in an existing palette, it will try and fit them into that one. Otherwise, it will try and fit them into a new one, and it will keep doing that. So there's 16 unique palettes of 16 colors. Hey, good evening, Decor. Welcome. So in order to make this work, we're going to have to change that background. So I'm going to look for a pixel art sky image to make this work. Pixel art sky image. That's a little bit better. There we go. Let's go for that one. That looks kind of nice. It's kind of big though. Hang on, that's massive. Maybe we'll shrink it down. Hang on. Get the copy image. Okay, so let's get rid of the background. Just drop this one in. Let's hang on, put it back in. So whenever you import, you need to put it back to RGB color, and then do your import, and then do your scale down, which we're going to need to do to make this work. Hopefully, this should retain. Should retain the kind of colors and not create weird kind of filtering artifacts. That'll do. Cool. All right. Then once you've got that in place, why has that got a weird bar on that side? Oh, it has a bar on that side. Okay, let's get rid of that. Don't like that. Oh, it's in like a weird frame. Let's get rid of that frame, actually. There we go. You see, this will be a lot less colors. And it's only colors per 16 by 8 block on that particular layer. If we layer things up, then obviously the superimposed layer over the top can have another set of 16 colors. And so on. So we're going to use this background. So now I need to go into here. I need to turn the foreground on first, just in case. New palette from Sprite and create a new palette. Look at that, it's way smaller. Okay, shockingly so. Set the transparency. Turn that up to horrible purple color. Always good to set your transparency to a color that you don't care that you're not going to be using, so you can then see it in the list. Good night, Quadrisaur. Thanks for joining. Cheers. I'm going to do about another 2 hours, and then we'll play some Resident Evil. I think I was really enjoying that today. So I have actually finished the Mega65 for dock as well, so that will be going out on Monday. Collection's coming on Monday. So I'm not bad. I've managed to do it within a week, which is my record so far. But cool, that looks like it's going to work. So save that file now, and then run this again, and hopefully won't get any errors down here. Yeah, we. Wait, what? Why is that getting an error now? 9 symbol screen row count. Oh, 32-bit color. Okay, so I need to go back into here, sprite, color mode, indexed. There we go, save. Boom, there we go. Right, so let's get rid of that console login there because that's frustrating. Don't want that. Close that down now. That is working. For some reason, it was just being weird. And we can take a look at what we've got here. So the background actually has 814 characters. That's quite a lot, actually. But again, that can be reduced. The foreground, interestingly, has 944 characters, which is still quite a lot, actually. Although that's in pairs as well. So that's in pairs of 2 by 1, 16 by 8 pixels. So it's probably not that bad, actually. Again, that's something we'd probably design around with the map. And I think it's probably worse because of the way Turrican's tiles are set out. So I think it's probably, I think Turrican tiles are 5 by 5, or are they? can't remember the exact size of the Turrican tiles. Maybe they're 2x2 actually. Hang on, I can work that out. No, it might be 4x4. But anyway, it's not going to matter because I think it's going to be a lot less than that anyway. I've seen the levels for this game, and they're way less detailed than this. I think, for the most part, anyway. But that's not too bad, and that's quite a wide map as well. Total tile count 3993. I don't know why that map that layer is showing, but it shouldn't be. Layer one, layer. Oh, is it showing the total overall? Maybe. Oh, it's creating tiles. Okay, so it's creating a 16 by 16 pixel tile set as well. And there are 926 tiles in this tile set. Okay, that's not bad at all. And then we just get some errors here because of these unknown properties here, symbols and stuff. But that's because we're no longer importing a layer in. Okay, good. So we've got the engine loading files in. We've got a layer system. We just need to import our config for it. So let's go ahead and copy this bit of code from here. Put that in here. And we want to import layer config. Is it 1_1_1? There we go. And that hopefully should not throw any errors now. Oh, it is still throwing it. Oh, right. Can't open the file source configs. Source config, not source configs. Okay. It's probably a bit weird that I've not used. I need to work out whether I should be using plurals or not. Okay, now the only problem we've got is that the raster rewrite buffer sprites aren't enabled. So let's go through and turn all those off that aren't needed. So where is that? That's in layers. Ah, interesting. So the raster rewrite buffer sprites are initialized in the layers for some reason. That's probably not ideal. So let's take a look in Perseus. So Perseus, yeah, Perseus doesn't enable them in here either. So that kind of makes me think if they're enabled in the layers, then maybe they should be imported in the layers as well. So, but then that kind of makes this whole problem of kind of these values having to be re-imported all the time per level. But maybe that's fine. Maybe the code needs to be re-imported per level. So where is that? It's a line 285. And that's as part of the init. Yeah, see, I don't think that should be in there. I think that should be in here, like that. Because after all, we import that and then we expect it to work. So, and that should be the same for all of these things. Anytime we import something, we should initialize it as well. So to go back to here again, we import the layer, then we do layer init. There is a palette load as well, which for now is just loading the palettes in from here. Let's go and have a look in assets and have a look in bin. Okay, so there it has actually exported lots of things here as well. So we do have PAL blue, green, and red in chars, which is correct here. Blue, green, and red. This is wrong though. We don't have sprite palette data yet, so get rid of those. So we can cancel the sprite palette data stuff here as well. Yeah, let's just get rid of all of that palette data. There you go. Cool. All right. BD, this is Doom Eternal, this one, I believe. Yeah, it's Doom Eternal. Do you have that one already? Or is that one of the missing 10? Oh, you do have that one, okay. Uh, Rightful winner. Luma 65 is out too, or was it Luna? What do you mean? Luma is out on the Mega 65. Luna is coming. Uh, uh, Ciao Dunker. I think Prince Fazer got the wrong chat there. Unless you've said good. I don't know. Maybe you have said goodnight to someone. Oh, Quadrasol maybe. If Quadrasol's name is Duncan, or maybe he's just got the wrong chat. I don't know. But I like it. Luna needs to be next. Yeah, Luna is definitely going to happen at some point. Again, it probably worked quite well with this engine, but I'm probably not going to do it like this because I want to port it. So I want to keep most of the logic, and that's probably not going to work with these layers. Plus, the way Luna works is it's procedurally generated, so it's not going to work with this system, fortunately. But it wouldn't be hard to get this working with the raster rewrite buffer. In fact, that's probably a really good example of how to use the raster rewrite buffer, using it for doing Luna. You'll see how kind of simple it is, really. So maybe that's what I'll do. I'll have to have a think about that. Okay, so we don't have BG2, we have BG at foreground. So now what we need to do is we need to go into the config and we need to configure these. So what we need to do is we need to point to the right files first, and these are quite simple. Map. Why is that one called map foreground in here? Map FG, map foreground. I don't know why that it gets built or why any of these get. Oh, I know why these are getting built. Hang on, let me delete file. It should clear this folder really. Save that. Run this again, and then we'll see. Okay, so these are the files. So it generates a couple of different files, and the reason it generates a couple of different files is we need some of them to tell the system just how big things are, basically. Which are these ones, these BG and FG, these things here. The one that actually gets imported is mapall.bin. That's the one that if we look in the Perseus make file, you should see in here map all is the one that we actually load in from the disk. The reason we have these separate files is because map all with is pointless as having the map split up into different layers when it comes to loading it. But when it comes to having to know about the size of things, we definitely want to know the size of individual layers. So it exports these files just so that you can fill the config stuff in here, and that's just a matter of just setting these to be like that, and then it knows what those are. Um, so we can create these two layers like that, and that's absolutely fine. We're going to create a sprite layer. We'll put 112 sprites on it. 112 is sorry, it's not 112 sprites. It's 112 bytes per row, and that means that there are 2 bytes for every sprite, which means this is 56 extra characters per row. But that will be split up into groups of kind of meta sprites, if you like. So that this value can change to whatever we want it to be. It just depends on how many layers you put in. The more layers you put in here, the less sprites you can have here. So, but we'll leave it at that for now, and we'll come back and change that if we need to. So we're going to get rid of everything in here that we don't need. Our foreground is going to be our control layer. We know how big our foreground is. It's 1102. Which seems like a number that doesn't quite divide into 8, but let's take a look. Fortunately, this will always round to an integer, so you kind of have to do it in standard mode. Yeah, it doesn't divide into 8. All right, so let's just take a quick look at this again. Oh, actually, it's not. It's 5216. Okay, so that's very different. Okay, so 5216. So if we put that into here, 652. Now the thing is this is that's in 8 characters. It's actually 8 pixel wide characters. This is actually 16 wide. So the actual width of the map is 326, and that should be documented over there. Let me just check that is documented. So map width, map width of the map this layer in tiles. Okay, yes. It's important to note that this engine uses 16 by 16 pixel tiles. Uh, you need to do. Wait, you need to use procedural coding for it, whatever that is. So it's proc and proc. That's very BBC Basic. My God, yeah, it's been a while since I did BBC Basic. It's my favorite basic of all time, that though. All right, okay. So in that case, in our config file, we need to set our map width to what was it? 326 for our foreground, and then height wise, it's just 11 tiles high. And then this width here is the width of the screening tiles. So you'll see in here width of this layer in oh wait oh, this is how many characters per row basically that we define. So what you want here is the number of characters on a row plus one extra one, so it can scroll properly, because you need to be able to scroll one character kind of each direction. So that will stay as 21, and this is a control layer. Then this layer is our background layer. So let's take a look at our background layer. That's here. This needs to be divisible by 16. Hopefully it is. Sure if it is though, but let's take a look. Okay, which is 592, which sounds like it is divisible by 16. Let's try it. Yeah, it is 37. All right, so in that case, we put 37 in here. Map height again is 11, because we're not changing the there's no vertical scroll in this whatsoever. So hey Proton, welcome. Again, the width is 21, because there's you basically, we're just defining how many characters there are on this particular row. You could define more for this if you wanted to, but I don't think there's much use in doing that. And then scroll factor is the multiplier that we use. So a multiplier of 0 means that the background doesn't move at all. Um, that's not what we want. Challenge 50k PC. I should put that in there, shouldn't I? I should put that in there. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that at some point, or at least my desk setup when it's tidy. It's changed though now. My desktop. I've got this massive Casio keyboard at the side of me for practicing on. I'm getting all right at it as well. Actually, I've been trying to play Dire Dogs. I try and do at least half an hour a day on it, and I'm just repeating the same phrases over and over and over again. And my muscle memory is kicking in now. Muscle memory has basically got probably the first 2 minutes or so of it down, with a few mistakes here and there. It's just consistency I need to get better at now. But yeah, I'm doing it. I'm doing it all right. It's pretty good. I'm enjoying it quite a lot. Okay, layer config. Here we go. So scroll factor. Yeah, so scroll factor 0 means that the layer doesn't move, and then these other scroll factors are basically for every pixel that the control layer, sorry, that this layer moves. How many pixels will the control layer have moved? So in other words, if we set a scroll factor, we'll set a scroll factor of 2 for here, and what that means is once the control layer has moved 2 pixels, then you can move this layer by 1. So a factor of 2 will basically move it at half the speed. So it's 1 over your scroll factor gives you the scroll speed for that particular layer. That should be all we need to set those up, and that should be our layers configured there. So I'm hoping now, let's take a look at this. Okay, so we're not loading char and tiles in yet. So let's load these. Let's take a look at actually the size of these files, and we'll do a temporary load for now. Okay, platform. There we go. Right, size of these files. Bin. Okay, they're quite small actually. So map all is 8. And then these are quite small as well. Oh, chars is big though. Chars is 90 kilobytes. Uh, okay, let's create a disk file for these, just as a temporary thing. So I'm gonna stick that in there. That loads all right. I'm gonna put rename the Perseus file now. So we're gonna stop using the Perseus file for now. Oops. Oh my god, I put a dot in the wrong place now. There we go. Then we need to drop a disk file in there. So we need to create this disk file. So first of all, I'm going to make these a bit more unique. For now, it's something Deft pointed out to me that actually, if I start naming everything just chars, map, and tiles, then we're going to run into problems when people try and put multiple games on one disk. So, not something I think about very often with the Commodore 64, but I definitely should be thinking about it here. Okay, so let's uncomment these. So these are definitely the right files. So we just need to rename these. I think underscore will work. Let's try. It might work. It might not. I might have to change that. I'll know when I've built it. So if I just build this, take the boot off there. I don't want to write that to disk yet. So we're just going to build main files. And I'm going to go and take a look in here. Hopefully in here now we should have a disk. And then if I open it up. Okay, so the underscore's not good. So I'm going to get rid of that. I'm just going to do PF like that. That will change to the name of the game when we get round to it. Map 1. Let's wonder if the hyphen works. Let's try that. Oh, that's a bit weird. Okay, close that. Bin folder. Okay, that works. So hyphen works. Okay, that'll do. And then I just need to drop that onto the disk here, because by default my Mega65 mounts this disk immediately. Whatever it's called, disk.ada when it mounts. So let's go and put that in the machine. There we go. And now this should load these. So these addresses here have to match in our base config. So we have a map base and a tiles base at 40,000 and 58,000, and our char offset is where the chars are in memory divided by 64, which gives us this memory address. But not memory address, it's a character index, if you like. I'm not changing anything there. That's going to stay the same, so it should match. Thank you, True Tonnies, for the gift sub to Old School J. And welcome to the subs. For those who don't know, those who sub do get access to my Google Drive folder, which changes every month. So I can keep kind of keep it unique for subs, because it is a link that you can just use. So there's no access control on it. So I have to leave it every month, but it contains all of the streams um, in the full quality that I export from Shotcut without any of the YouTube kind of compression ruining it. So if you want the highest quality versions and you want to be able to download them easily, I mean, you can download from YouTube downloaders, but they're never great. Plus, there's some stuff that is only in that Google Drive link. So like the PDFs are in there that I did 2 years ago, as well as the Mega65 streams. Are only in there at the moment. I think what I'm going to do with the Mega65 streams, I'm going to keep them into the Google Drive as an exclusive for now. and the only ones I will put. I'm trying to reduce the amount of stuff that I do on YouTube because it's really difficult to keep up with the exporting of the files and the kind of and stuff. So um, I'm going to try and dial that back a little bit and keep YouTube more for probably for the Mega Drive streams when I get round to those. For Checkanoid streams, they will continue to be on there. Although they're a kind of Patreon exclusive, Patreon and sub exclusive um, for 2 to 3 months before they appear on YouTube. And just any short videos. So, for instance, Toxic Frenzy, the port Toxic Frenzy, I'm going to edit that down into a short, maybe half an hour, 45-minute video, um, and put that onto YouTube under the Discovery and Mega65 kind of brand thing that I set up. If you can call it a brand series, I guess you'd call it. And anytime I do things like a dissect stream, or if I do like another raster rewrite buffer stream, I'll put those on there to give some content on there. I just want to kind of reduce because what's happening is I'm doing these streams, then I'm having to go and kind of trim down a 5 hour stream, strip the breaks out, so which isn't too bad. That's the easy bit. But then I have to kind of upload it to YouTube and I have to get it checked and set all the adverts up and things. It's really a pain. And to be honest, most of the videos don't have great, don't have stupidly high watch counts or anything. I think most people are either watching it on Twitch VODs or through the Google Drive link. So I'm just going to leave it to kind of more targeted. Blue Midget should be in there. What the? Hmm. Hmm. I need to check that now. Or did you spell it wrong or something? No, you spell it right. Or have I spelled it wrong? Maybe I've spelled it wrong. Oh no, it's there. That's weird. I like how SP can confirm now. SP can say it quicker than I can. That's funny. Maybe you were just a few seconds, or like 1 second too slow, but it looked like you were on time for that. I don't know why that was the case, or maybe just maybe it just went kind of wrong with uh the kind of API thing. Hey Fizz, oh yeah, this is assembly. This is 45DSO2, so it's a 6510 variant, like an enhancement of that. It's closer to 65CEO2 actually. In fact, it pretty much is 65CEO2. For the Mega 65, which is this thing here. We're just trying to abstract an engine. So this that you can see on the screen is an engine that I've written based on that, and I'm just in the process of it's a very young engine. It's very barely been used at all. It's very much work in progress, and I'm just porting it over to abstracting it so I can use it on another game. Is it still a 5 second guessing window? Yeah, it is actually. I haven't changed that yet. I should probably change that, shouldn't I? I did say I would change it to 10 or 15 seconds. Probably change it to 15 seconds to give those with a lag a bit of a chance. Okay, let's try compiling that now because I think everything here would imply that it works. So let's see. So hopefully we should see a completely different background if it loads, but it doesn't look like it's loading actually. Okay, so we've got 0 page. Right, okay. So this is where we're going to have some issues when these things appear, and that's because this appears in the debug panel. So this is where we need to get a bit smart about this. So the way the 0 page stuff works is it will basically create a 0 page at page 0 to begin with. When you boot the machine up, that's where 0 page is. That's why it's called 0 page. However, on the Mega65, it's called base page, and the reason it's called base page is because you can change its location, and that's what we're going to do now. So I'm not sure. Can I do that? I can. Right. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find where the 0 page stuff is used and see if I do need to keep using it like that. Okay, so it's being used by these things here. So it does need to be 0 page. It's the only place it's being used. And there are two of them. So let's go and have a look at the zero page file original in Perseus. Yeah, so you can see we've got two words down here. So what I can do is if I come up to here in debug panel and do some trickery here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change some stuff in here. So these are aligned 100. Okay, so that means this is the actual sprite data here. So if I put it here, this is absolutely going to be on its own. These are both going to be in the same page. So then what I can do is I can do something like this. So if I do debug page or debug base page equals get the address of where I put it in and divide that by 100. So now that's going to give me a constant that I can use, right? So then what I can do is down here where I actually use it, the first thing I can do is I can say, okay, I don't know why it's jumping to init again. Okay, so if it's not initialized, okay. So here is where we start using it. So the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer the base page register. So this is a new register. It's called the base page register, and it just tells the 45 GSO to exactly which page the base page is being used on. So in this case, we're using the base page. We don't know where the base page is at the moment. So we're going to transfer that base page register to the accumulator, and then we're going to push that onto the stack. So this is store base page, store current base page, and then we'll restore it at the end down here. So before we return here, we'll pull the accumulator and transfer that into base page. So that's going to ensure that if we move the base page now, restore previous base page. If we restore it, it's if we change it, it's going to get restored properly, and then any other zero page stuff is going to still work. Now, one thing I'm not sure about is whether or not interrupts do this. I don't think they do actually. I need to check that. That's something I've not tried. So that potentially means if we use an interrupt and the interrupt uses zero page, we also need to do this same thing. We need to make sure that we use our own zero page. So and restore the old one and restore it as well. So here we're going to do is set new base page. So all we're going to do now is we're going to tell it that this location here of these bytes here is our new zero page, and we do that by setting the base page value to this value. So in other words, if this starts at C00, then the base page is C0. If it starts at 065, the base page is still C0 because it's going to divide it, which means it's going to truncate any values off the end. In fact, we can make sure it does that by just doing floor on here as well. And then that will absolutely guarantee it. I mean, what it will do is it will create if I didn't do the floor, it would create a float value here. But then when I try and use it as an operand, it would actually truncate the floating point bit and just turn it into an integer basically. So here we can do load accumulator with our debug base page and transfer that into the base register. So a few extra commands, but what it does now mean we can use these things without them causing an issue. So I do need to get rid of the zero page stuff on here. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to call them BP, debug BP, like that, with no dot in here, just BP. Actually, no, I will put the dot in actually, because then I can make sure that that stays in its own kind of namespace, if you like, within the debug panel. So We'll keep that as a consistent kind of theme whenever we use these. So if we do need a base page, we make sure it's within a namespace already, and then we basically create like this, and we have the base page up here. In fact, if we do this a little bit differently as well, we can do page equals. Then we can keep that consistent, so that would be bp.page. Oops. There we go. Okay, so it's a slight change to this, but it shouldn't affect Perseus at all, because Perseus will just not need these values in zero page. So if I just go and get rid of these in zero page here now, don't know why that's loading in that file. That should be over here. Perseus should still load. Now, obviously, Perseus is going to load and it's going to have the completely wrong graphics on the screen, but it should still load without errors. Oh, it looks like there is an error in here. Okay. Oh, okay. Because I've just put page in here rather than label page. There we go. There we go. It's loading. It's going to have the wrong graphics, but it is working as well. Ah, you found the other blue screen of death. Cool. Yeah. Okay. So I mean, obviously the characters are wrong, but there is, it has loaded something in. Okay. Cool. So knowing that that works in the debug panel, you see the debug panel at the bottom is still working, so we know our zero page stuff is fine. That's SP with the BG knowledge. I love it. There you go. Let's load. So now we're going to load our engine in. Okay, so we've got another failure in here. And this time we've got a failure because of zero page in the math unit in our math program. Okay, so that's fine. That just means we need to do the same thing in the math. So we come into here. And what I'll do here actually is I'll create a small macro. Actually, no, I'll just create a routine actually that does this. So first of all, let's create a base page here. Let's do label page equals, and that would be same again, star divided by 100. And then we need to set some values. Now, in the debug panel, I knew that this was going to be aligned. This is always going to be aligned to 100. I know that for a fact. What I will do just to make sure it's consistent is I will do this. So what I need to do is I need to pick the power of 2 that's closest to the length of these things here and align to those. So in this case, I'm going to align to 0.4. What that's going to do is that's going to ensure that it's say this was at say this wasn't here and this was now at C3FF. Okay, without this, our page would be C3, but then only the first byte of this would actually be in the zero page. Actually, be this one, wouldn't it? Because it's a little endian. So what this does is it ensures that it gives us enough space to fit all our variables in it, but make sure that they all use the same base page. So I am going to put that in there, and I'm going to keep that. It's not going to make any difference to this. It's not going to change this at all. But it probably will change this next one, which is our multiplier. Yeah, this thing here. So again, I'm just going to cut them out of there. And I'm going to go into our math unit up here. I'm going to drop those in, and we're going to set an align in here that matches these. Okay, and our align is going to be 8. Run into this. And that's just going to make sure that all of these If any of these cross the page boundary, then this would prevent it from doing so. It would just put a couple of spaces in. Also, a good reason to put these at the beginning of our functions like this. So I'm going to have set base page and restore base page. Now, could argue that these could somehow be shared between these could be macros of some kind, but however, they're going to reference something in here anyway, so it's probably not a good idea. But we need to do the same thing. So transfer the base page to the accumulator, push to the accumulator. Actually, this is not going to work because, okay, this does need to be a macro, doesn't it? Yes, it needs to be a macro. Okay. However, I want it to be a function, but if it's a function, I can't use the stack because it's gonna push the address onto the stack, which means this is gonna then fail when it tries to pull. So that's no good. But what I could do, no, because if I nest these, it would be wrong as well. Okay, I think I'm not going to use these. I'm just going to do it manually. Okay, so in here, transfer base page to the accumulator, push it onto the stack, then load the accumulator with bp dot page, and transfer that to B. Okay, so set base page, and then at the end we need to restore the base page, which is just pull like so. There we go. I mean, we could argue that these push and pull could be replaced with a load and store, which would, in fact, that would be quicker. So let's do that. Let's change that to like so, and then do base page. Let's just call it rest base, rest BP. That'll do. It's nice and short then. There we go. That makes it quick then, because otherwise that push and pull might be a bit slow. So I don't care in the debug panel because it's a debug panel. Okay, let's take a look at that now. Getting an error there, is it? Oh, because it's now using ZP, whereas it should be using BP. The other advantage of doing this, of course, is that now these functions are technically running in base page. So some of these things, like this, is now a 0-page store. I mean, these already are, but the for instance, it does make a difference when you're doing self-modifying code. It kind of adds some stuff. Kind of looks that kind of looks. I don't know what that is. Oh, it's the new PogChamp thing. Ah, okay. I've not actually seen that. That's the first time I've seen it. I don't know. They changed it, didn't they? Quite some time ago now, actually. It shows how often we see that in this channel. That's the first time I've seen it. I think they have a few though, if I remember rightly. Okay, so we're almost there, but now we've got draw layer setup is doing things wrong. Okay, so draw layer setup is using this 0-page here. So let's take a look at that. So that's in layers. That's this thing up here, because for some reason it's been set up here. I don't know why that is at all, but it is. But that means we can't do that quite the same way. The way we have to do this is maths.bp instead. Actually, that wouldn't be. That's a good point. Actually, that would not be zero page because at compile time, at assembly time, the base page has not been set. So that actually isn't. That's actually going to be a full address there. But you could in theory do that, and that would no, it wouldn't because it's not been set anyway. It's not been set till there anyway. So yeah, whatever. Oh, I was hoping somebody would type that. I'm gutted that somebody's discovered that through that. Yeah, changed it like 3 months ago or something. Yeah, I do remember them changing it. I think there's a couple actually. I think there's more than one now. Great, now I want a Corona. I'm gonna have I've got lime. Okay, right, let's give this a go now. Hopefully we're there. Okay, no, now we've got another zero page thing. So this is in where is this actually? This says it's in Maine, but is it? Is it in Maine? 200 and oh no, it's in layers. Okay. Okay, so we do have more of these things. Tile RAM pointer, map RAM pointer. Thank you very much for the follow, Vishal Mishir. Vishal Mishra. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing all right. I'm a bit worried about these zero page things now. Starting to worry that there's an awful lot of this going on. Let's take a look. So we've got tile RAM pointer. So let's go and have a look where that is. So we use this one as our base. Okay, so yeah, we've got map pointer, tile RAM pointer. That's 8 bytes there. So let's take that out. Try the same again in here. Oh, actually, before I do that, I just want to make sure this still works. So let's load this up. Again, the background's going to be wrong, but I just want to make sure it compiles. Which it is not anymore. Multiplier 603 in layers. Okay, let's have a look. Oh, okay, yes, that should be, oops, maths.bp. So might as well get all these right before we move on to the next section. So be product layers. This layers file is going to be a problem. I can sense it. There's so many things that are just not quite working right in it. Look, it's all over the place. We're using this all over the place. So either we need to have a base zero page file that we load in, which actually might not be a bad idea. Where we have you have to have some zero page stuff that's dedicated to this. For now, I'm going to do this with the maths ones, but maybe we'll have a base one for the rest. Because I don't mind doing it for the math stuff and that, because these are probably all right. But maybe for these map pointer ones, we'll change that to a zero page import of some kind. So 6510. No, you tried 6502 before. Yeah, I think there's still quite a few of those that you've not discovered. Actually, the chip ones. All right, there we go. So we're loading up now. So yeah, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a zero page file in our engine down here. So we have utils, sprite, engine. I kind of feel like it's not quite utils though. Oh, I can no, can't do it in here, can I? Doesn't quite fit there. I know how we can do this. This is quite easy. So in layers, we create a file called zeropage.s. Save that. And then in this file, we just do this basically like that. And then what you do in here is you say import. So this would be, I've got to work out where the hell this is now. It's back. Zeus engine layers like that, and then that way we can just import zero page for whatever section we want, like that. So if you import a library, you probably also need to import, and it has a zero page in the engine here. You need to import that. That's actually okay. I quite like that. That's a nice system. It's a nice system. I like that. Okay, so let's make sure that that works. So this is our map stuff. So this is what the map does at the moment. Obviously, the map is kind of not the correct map, but hopefully we should still be able to import these things the same way. Okay, so time ram pointer not present on value of type, but it is being imported in here. But maybe it's not actually being put into this space properly. How does that work then? Hmm. I mean, the other way we can do it is no, actually, that's not going to work either. Interesting that that's not working. Is that not loading that file in? Maybe it's failing to load that file in. No, it looks like it is loading it in. Timeout pointer not present on value of type label value layers.s. So is that not printing at this point? Is it not? I mean, is that not importing at that point? So we're in the zero page file in here, which is this one here. If I go out of that, oh, maybe it's two. Maybe it's dot like that. There we go. No, it's not loading that file in at all. So wait. Let's think about this. If I come out of there, I'm in Perseus, and then out of that, I can go dot backslash. What is it? There we go. Zeus engine, yes. Layers, yes. ZP.s, yes. Okay, so why isn't that loading? Okay, let me put a print in here. So this will just let us know that the assembler has got to this point. Which it hasn't. See that it hasn't. It's failed because it's done one pass and then failed for some reason. But it's definitely loaded up here. Interesting. Uh, does it look like Rambo? uh, yeah, most have been Moss. I think most are Moss chips. Uh, okay, so for some reason this is not doing what I think it should be doing. So let me try and figure this out. This is what this is going to be mostly about for now while we get this engine sorted. I know most of you were probably thinking you were going to see a brand new port of an Amiga game appear today, but no. Ah, okay. Okay, that's interesting. Damn it. Got my lip again. I've got to stop doing that. Damn it. Um, okay, so the passes don't work with this. Is that because it's in here, maybe? Okay, I'm going to take a quick break because I've cut my lip a bit. So, just going to go to the bathroom, just clean up a little bit. I go to the toilet as well. So I'll be back in. I'll be back in 5 minutes, guys. Not even that. Two or 3 minutes. All right. Be right back. Right, I'm back and I know what that is. Oh, where's the SID's gone over there? Okay. I'm going to tell you what it is right at the end. Boom. I can't remember. Somebody played this on stream. I can't remember who it was. Might have been Hitch, actually. It's called Oink. It was one of the first games on the Commodore format power packs. I think it was like on the first or second tape. It was three games in one. Okay, so that doesn't work there. What about if I put it here? And so what I was thinking is maybe this is a namespace thing. And this is where namespaces would be useful. So let's try that. Let's get rid of that again. So first of all, does this compile? Actually, let's just change this to namespace zp like that. And these are all referenced by that. And then if I do the same thing over here, they should be added to it if it works correctly. So what do you think for Luna then? Do you think it should be like a marathon? Oh, I've not stopped the races ever. Do you think it should be like a marathon stream? It probably should, shouldn't it? Yeah, let's see if that still works. Oh, that worked. That worked. Okay, so I found a valid use for namespaces then in that case. If this works. Better than a Snicker stream. Yeah, that worked. Okay, so this is a valid use case for namespaces. So we have our base file, which we put all our 0-page stuff into. But you can see, look, it's importing things correctly. And it's adding them to the same namespace. So we have a namespace called 0-page, which we put all our ZP stuff on. And then we can import them. So actually what that means we can probably do is we can probably do that for everything, right? That's going to be nice and simple. And then we just import the 0-page that we want, and then we import our own namespace stuff as well. Okay, cool. That's that problem solved. Right, so that means now if I go into here, I should be able to hopefully load this. Although this is probably going to complain about all sorts of other namespaces. Yeah, tile RAM pointer, because we don't have it on our side here. So let's go and have a look at our 0-page file in platform, which is in here, and we don't have it. So we need to import that from here. So import, and that becomes Zeus engine, and it'll be back to like so, and that'll be layers zp.s. Okay, that's wrong. So back 1, 2, 3 actually. So symbol is already defined. Okay, this is why we need a namespace. And then that should work. So actually, I'm pleased I found a good use for namespace. So it's showing intentionally covering the assets of the BG. No, the BG is going to be this eventually, but this is just a temporary thing. Oh, what chip have you got there? Oh, 68,000. That was already discovered. Yeah, it's a ceramic one. Okay, cool. So it's working, but now we've got these other pointers. So we've got color RAM pointer, screen pointers. So let's see, where are those being used? They're being used also in layers, actually. So let's put these into layers. Let's grab them from in this page. So I'm going to grab these ones. I think it might need more, but let's just put these ones in for now. It's probably going to need more, though, I'd imagine. No, there we go. We're running. I have no idea what we're about to see, so this is exciting. This is the first time this is actually compiled or assembled, should I say. Okay, so we've just got a blank background that's not actually drawing anything, but it has actually loaded. So that's a good sign. That's a start at least. Okay, so we've got reposition layers and set layer scrolls. So I think one of the things that's going on here is in the layers file. By default, we're setting a position that's like in a completely wrong place. So let's go and set this to 0, 0. See, our layers are set to, yeah, they're set to like 13. Okay, so the number of layers is completely wrong here. So it's 2. Oh, hang on. This is a funny one as well, because now we've got a different number of layers here. So actually, I'm going to change this to fill number of layers like that. And that would be the same on here as well. And that would be the same on here as well. Yeah, there's gonna have to be some sneaky stuff done with this to make this work properly. Across all different potential levels that load up. I'm gonna have a real good think about how to do this layer system. But for now, if we can get this working, that would be pretty good. 65, 60. Yeah, that doesn't exist, I don't think, or at least it's not one I know of. Have I actually included it? Let's have a look. Yeah, I don't have that one. So if that is a valid Vic2 variant, then I haven't included it. I have included some variants though. What is PAL? 6569 is PAL, I believe. Yeah, 6569 is PAL. Oh, that's for the VIC 20. Yeah, I've not got any VIC 20 chips in there. At least not standard ones, anyway. There we go. We have the map loading in. Cool. So we have a map loading in. We've got a gap at the bottom. So the next thing to do is just check that we can move this left and right. So Mega 21. Okay, so let's try moving this. So normally we'd move this with a control. We don't have any control at the moment. So let's just have a look what control actually does in Perseus. So let's take a look at the control layer in here. So player control, and just have a look what pulling to the right does. The most basic level. We've got to move horizontal, and move horizontal is this thing here. And that just takes the control layer from here and adds this value to it. Okay, so let's do this at the most basic level. Although this is actually checking to see if we've exceeded a certain point as well. So okay, so it needs to compare with 10. All right, okay, so let's take a whole section of this like so, and just oops, and just edit this slightly to make this. So this is just a temporary thing in here in the game. Actually, let's create a player control function in our platformer. So let's close the assets thing down. So we've got some new stuff. So we've got config var. Let's create a new folder called player. And let's add control into that new file. Control.s. Save that. Call it control like so. And for now, we'll just put an update function in here. And that's just going to do some basic stuff, which I'll come back to in a second. I just want to import that. So I'm going to put our temporary imports here. Well, actually, this probably will be a permanent import, but let's just put it here for now. So it'll be source layer control.s. And then in here, we can have player, sorry, not player, control.update. Yeah, okay. So then in our control update, we are not going to, we're just going to always add 2. So we're just going to take this, add 2 to it, store it, compare it to 10. If it's more than 10, otherwise we're going to go to done. Okay. Otherwise we're going to end it, store it. I'm just going to get rid of the forwards so it doesn't confuse me, because at the moment we're only going in one direction. And then we need to add to map width. Okay, and that prints our XPOS at the bottom. Okay, so I think that should be, don't need that there. So this is a very temporary thing. So I'm just going to put a to-do temp in here. Temp move. And hopefully we should see this move with a little bit of parallax. If we're good, and then we can start thinking about the, oh, there we go. 8566. So this is the newer, I want to say this is the NTSC one. Oh, it's C1 to 8-bit. Okay. There we go. So we have something moving with parallax. So you can see actually it's not that difficult to set up. It's most of this has just been kind of tweaking the engine, but you can see now that the engine is working separately. This is all we really need to do to get a scrolling parallax background, right? We just need to import the layer stuff in and our layer config. This is something I need to work out, so I'm going to put to do in here as well. Work out how to tie individual level configs. So this is quite a tricky thing to work out at the moment. What I think is probably going to have to happen is this piece of code is going to have to be loaded in from somewhere. So we could maybe load this in using the floppy loader stuff, and this would be different. So for level 1, it would look like that. For level 2, it would look like this, and so on. But each time it's going to have to load this in. So I might have to separate this into stuff that needs these variables and stuff that doesn't, or find a way to store those variables in memory somewhere instead, which is probably the most sensible way to do this. But for now, I'm just going to keep it like that. I will go through that at a later date, I think. Still Vic2, but the one found in the 128. Okay, cool. Yeah, I think I went through the Vic2 variants. I seem to recall that. But yeah, you can see there we go. It is scrolling. You will notice that the background will tile after a certain point, but the map will also reset when it gets to a certain length as well. Now, map width is for some reason resetting very quickly. So I need to check that out, because in our layer config in here, our map width is set to 326. But it looks like it's resetting way before that. So I'm not entirely sure why. Let's just check the layer file. Let's see what's going on in here. Okay, it's not to do with this. It's to do with our control, right? So our control is loading. Oh, layer X position. So this is actually because the map width is, we've only got an 8-bit width. Yeah, an 8-bit map width. That might be a problem. So we might need to fix that at some point. So I need to think about that. In the meantime, what I can do is I can just change the map width in here to 255, and then that will actually scroll for a bit longer. So let's try that again. did actually bring another bottle of, as well, a cold bottle, so I can drink some cold. Oh, see, it's doing some weird stuff now. Oh, DX Mon. Thank you very much, DX Mon, for the raid. Welcome along. Hope you're doing all right. You catch me in the middle of wondering how I've managed to break this layer engine. What have you been up to tonight? Thank you very much for the raid. Really good to see you again. We're going to play Resident Evil in about 45 minutes time, so I'm not going to do this for too much longer now. Debugging debug tools. Debugging debug tools. Wow. It's a whole nother layer of meta, isn't it? Okay, so one of the problems I've got here, I think this is why we're seeing this, is because I've now set the layer config to say it's 255 wide. It knows that the map itself is actually wider than that, so the whole formula that it's using to do these things is wrong. So what I need to do is just go in here, and I just need to set my canvas width in this one. So this is just a temporary thing. I think I'm going to have to change this at some point. So let's do 255 times 16. That gives me 4080. So if I set 4080 in here and cap it to that side like so, and that should be fine now. Okay, so if I save that. So I need a 16-bit map thing, I think. I don't know how big the maps are in this game, so I need to have a look at those as well. Debugception, yeah. Thanks for shouting out as well. BD68. No, I haven't gone in that much detail with it. Okay, so it's still not quite right. Why is that? Let's take another look at the config. So it's saying our map width is 255, which it is. Or it should be now anyway. If I saved it right. 4080. Let me just double check that I've done that right. It looks like I have, because 255. Okay. Does it need to be less? Maybe it needs to be less for some reason. Let's try 128. I might have to have a good think about how to do this properly. I think I've created some artificial limits that I've not thought about. That's fine. It gives me something to work on. No, it's still the same, isn't it? Okay, so it only works when I set the right size for some weird reason. Shrink Perseus down. Let's take a look at this. Okay, so our assets, these all look fine. This is definitely only that wide. 4080 by 176. Roxham Humper. I like how that is good enough to find. Oh, I know what's going on. Okay, so let me set that back to 255. People are going to remember this soon. This would have been some points. This would have been 5 or 10 points for in fact, I'm going to say it now. If anybody remembers that I need to write the files to this disk, the asset files, before I do, it's a 10-pointer. Because I keep forgetting. But if you remember before I do, then I'll give you 10 points. So what's happening there is the map data is obviously still using the old map data. Make a flag. I want to give you guys some reasons to get points, some methods for getting some more points. Oh, it's still not worked. Why has that still not worked? Wait, did I actually create those files? Hang on, I'm worried that I didn't create the files now. Let me turn the system off and back on again. Layer config 255. Our map width is 4080, so it should be 255. Six five eight seven. I think you meant 6567, maybe. 6587 sounds like the TED chip in the C16 plus 4. Hang on, 6587. It doesn't actually show up at all. Is it in the Vic list? Maybe it's in the Vic list. It's the Vic 2 versions. No, it's not. It's not in that list. So this has been fairly slow progress tonight, but I'm kind of happy that things have been separated out. I've spotted some obvious issues. Oh, look, the map is still that size. Why is the map that size? Did I not save it? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Why is it? Platformer. Oh, wait. There's another file called. Oh, right. That's right. Yeah. Assets. Source. Yes. You see, that's the problem down here. Is it's still picking the map up as that size? And I do not know why. Because that should be loading from the Sprite file. Maybe that's being cached for some reason. Uh, you meant 6567. Yeah, I thought so, to be honest. It's the NTSC Vic, isn't it? Yeah, look, it's picking up the map size as that, which is wrong. Let me close that file and reopen that file. Maybe it's one of these Sprite issues, in which case I probably need to report this as a bug if that's the case. Let me check Sprite properties. Okay, that seems to be right now. Let me save. No, look, it's still picking up that size. Is it a layer size thing, maybe? Is it because the layer itself is a different size? No, okay. Okay, let me try save as on a map. There you go. And let's just quickly change this just to see. No, look, 326. It thinks that foreground layer is 326 tiles wide, which is the old size. So 326 times 16, 5216. And it's not that size, though. Yeah, 5216. Don't you need to copy it? What do you mean? Do I need to copy? No. This is basically when it's going to build the files, it's getting the wrong size files. I mean, I will need to copy it when I get it right, but this output here is from the node script, right? This is the node script going through and working out the size of things. But for some reason, it seems to think that the map is that size, and I'm just wondering if it's to do with Sprite. So if I take a fresh file, so if I get rid of this and I go okay, file new, and I do 4080 by 176 like so, and then I create a new layer in here. I call this layer BG. I call this layer FG. And then I take the layers out of this one. So start with the background. Paste that in. RGB color. Cannot copy in. Okay, so because this will be annoying if this is the case. Oh, actually, it's copied the layer in. Hang on, I don't want that. I want to like so. Yeah, there we go. Right, so there's one layer. I come into this one like so. Right, there we go. So now our map is exactly the same as it was before, but I've done it in a new thing. So I need to do. I need to create my palette. So new palette from Sprite. Okay, there we go. Sprite color mode indexed, and then save that as the original file. Then come into our make file, make that match. You can't see the output. Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Let me turn that off. Yeah. Sorry. So yeah, you see there, it's still picking up. So that, hopefully now this will work. If that works, then yeah. So there's a bug here. There is a bug. So I do need to copy the files onto this disk and set load. It's going to be wrong again, but I need to let it load so I don't corrupt the disk. Okay, right. That's really weird. That means there is a bug in Sprite. So if you've got a canvas and you then change the size of it, the output file seems to think it's the original size, even if you've changed it down. It's going to be a bit worrying. I might have to report that. That probably needs fixing. Okay, so that's the file copied. Hopefully this will work now. What is that? I don't know what that is. There we go. So now we've got our map working. Hopefully this will scroll for a lot longer, which it is doing. Cool. So the only problem we've got at the moment is that the map is restricted to 256 tiles wide, which is still quite a lot, but it's probably not enough. So I need to update the engine to deal with 16-bit addresses instead. Now, because most of this has been engine work, I'm feeling all right about changing a lot of. Same on Perseus. I feel all right about changing the engine significantly, and just fixing it for Perseus later. I think that would be absolutely fine. Because I do think it needs the 16-bit values. Otherwise, this map is going to be restricted to its size quite significantly. So, let's see. I've got about half an hour left before I play some Resident Evil. So, yeah. All right. Let's take a look then. Okay. So the issue lies in our layer code, which is this thing here, and layer has only a single byte defining its X position. So we could say that we could just limit the Y to be 250, because it's unlikely you're going to want to go up and down, because the thing with this engine is it's much better at doing horizontal scrolling than it is vertical scrolling. Vertical scrolling is expensive and causes quite a lot of well, not slowdown, but a use of raster time. So the horizontal scroll, however, is pretty decent. So we could create another layer X in here. Let's try this actually. Let's do this here, and then do layer X high like so. Right, so that means now if I look at various things in here, okay, draw layer setup. I don't know what this is. I can't remember what this is doing, but let's take a look. Okay, but this is using a layer X here somewhere. So that's a bit worrying. I don't know what this is for actually. So layer wrap X. Okay. Shit, this is actually not great, is it? This is going to be a pain. I might have to play around with this because look, it's here as well. Reposition layers, it's all over. Actually, I think reposition layers is probably the main place it's being used. I think it's not going to be used in this section here. Layer X, there we go. It is being used here. Okay. Oh, because it's calculating the map offset. Ah, but if you look here, we've actually got high byte as well. So yeah, we've got a high byte. All right. But then we've got subtract here, and we're not subtracting. Oh shit! All right, because the layer map width is also only 8-bit. Shit! This is annoying. This is very annoying. I'm gonna have to work on this. On this, I don't think this is gonna be good to do on stream. Uh, uh, trying to think actually, because problem is this is going to be a huge problem at some point if I don't solve this. Problem is I don't think I've got enough time to really get into this now without seriously kind of leaving myself short of time and halfway through the code. Because what I need to do is I need to go through this entire file, making sure that anytime layer X is used, that we also previous layer X. So we basically have this as well. So that, I mean, that's the first case, which is gonna be painful. It's gonna be very painful because it's all over the place, and it's gonna need some heavy testing. All right, I'm not gonna do that now. Instead, what I'm gonna do. Oh, why have I got no debug panel at the bottom? I thought I would have a debug panel, but I don't seem to for some reason. Interesting. Is it not being updated? So debug is turned on. Debug is being updated. Debug is not being initialized though. Should that be being initialized here, or is it initialized in the debug? Maybe it's initialized in the debug panel code. Oh no, it's initialized as soon as you do an update. Okay. So the first time you do an update, it initializes itself. But for some reason, I'm not seeing. Oh, it's a palette thing, isn't it? That's what it is. It's a palette thing. It's because the sprite palette is not being loaded in. Okay, let's do the palette stuff. Actually, that makes sense. Let's do that. All right. So we're going to create. We've got a file called palettes here. So let's folder called palettes. Let's add palettes.s. Save that. Call it palettes here. Okay, so what do we need to do to load palettes in? Let's it's in the engine section. And let's take a look at what we're actually doing. All right. So we're probably going to need a macro for this, I would assume. Or can we do it without a macro? No, it should probably be a macro. Okay, so let's create a macro here. No, actually macros belong in here, don't they? Okay. But these macros don't call anything in other. Oh, they do call things in layers and stuff. Oh, okay. This is tricky. Okay. Which actually means we probably should import things in here, right? If we're definitely using it here, then we should import it in here as well. Except layer is not, because oh god, I'm starting to see all the holes in this now. Ah, bugger. Starting to see serious holes in it. I have to have a real good think about this. Hmm. Interesting, when it gets to the end as well, it does this weird wraparound at the end. And then it resets. Um yeah, it's gonna take a while, isn't it? All right, let's make the palette simple then. Let's so this is what our palette data looks like, which we would want to be in some file in here, right? So let's not do a macro in that case. Let's do a function to do this. Okay. So this is setting the palettes that are being used. I don't know why that palette's been used like that. That's weird. Bang accessible palette 0, set text to palette 0. And then for some reason it's setting palette 1 up here and then palette 1 down here. Oh no, that's the alternate palette, isn't it? Oh yeah, that's correct then. Okay, let's copy this and put it in our palette file, right? So if we make this load text palette, and then what we'll do is we'll pass in accumulator and X register into this, and that will be accumulator equals MSB. No, let's do MSB actually, it's fine. And xreg equals LSB. So then what we're going to do is we are going to store these in these locations here. So actually X register, oh actually yeah, X register needs to say the same. Okay. So we're going to store X at like so. We'll do it like this, self mod. Let's do it RGB, makes more sense. So store X at palette data red plus 0, store accumulator at palette data R plus 1. That means these will be the same for RGB. And then this would be, is it just ink on its own? Is it ink or is it in I need to look that up. Ink has just accumulator, yeah. I think ink on its own will work. All right. Or that it's either ink or ink A like that. I can't remember which one it is, but we'll just go with this. It's either going to work or it's not, right? So yeah, one of the things about so I was sleeping from my stream, you think about going to bed. Yeah, good night. Thanks DXmon for the raid. Take care. Sleep well. We shall be switching over to Resident Evil soon. Okay, so now what we need to do is load the accumulator with palette data, load X with palette data. Oh my God. So, and then that means I can get rid of, so I'm going to leave that bit. I'm just going to comment it out because we need to do sprites as well. This sets up, actually just get rid of that for now. I just want to see what happens if I run this. Only since I need to import that now. Palettes. So hopefully this is just going to work the same and not throw any errors. It's just going to throw errors if I put errors in. Oh, that's good though. It means the ink works. So yeah, this is a new thing for, I think it's 65 CEO2. I don't think it's 45 DSO2. I think it's a 65 CO2 thing. Basically, just lets you increment the accumulator. Same as doing like that or that or that. It's just for the accumulator. That's all. So it's just a new addressing mode just for that thing. But useful. Some of it should have probably been in there a long time ago. Okay, let's see if this works. Let's get another vodka, and we'll prepare to play some Resident Evil soon. Okay, so that seems to have worked. I'm going to reset though, because it will record, it will save these values. So, thank you very much for the sub, Hot Wheel Flash. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing well. You have a happy stay with us here in the land of engine editing. This is the sort of thing really that you should spend like 2 weeks with your head down just doing it. I mean, me leaving it till this one stream a week is probably not the best idea, but it's fine. I'm hoping to do more and more of this over the coming weeks. Tuesdays are kind of dedicated to Mega65 temporarily anyway, at least until I know what else I'm going to be doing on Tuesdays. But I do need to get this out of the way so that when the engine is okay, that's good. So that's working. So that when we're good to we're good to hit the ground running when we get the assets and everything else. The one thing I don't have is a mod player. And looking at the current kind of map layout, there isn't really an awful. Well, looking at the kind of the char count and stuff, there's not an awful lot of space for one either. But I'm sure we can find a way to make this work. Okay, so it is running into issues partway through the map, and then it resets. So I don't know what that is. I think it's to do with how big this map is. If I was to reduce this, for instance, down to 200, would that stop doing that? But actually, what I want to do is add the sprite stuff in. But either way, this is what needs to happen with the engine. We need to make these the layer X position 16-bit. I'm so annoyed that I hadn't done that already. But it looks like I need to do a bit of refactoring anyway to make it more. Okay, it's not going to work because obviously I've changed the size of it, so it's going to have to stay that for now. All right. What was it saying? Yeah, I'm I'm going to have to make some changes to allow me to load multiple levels in. I was so busy concentrating on making it configurable that I didn't really think about how that configuration works at runtime. And the answer is it doesn't. So I do need to figure that out. I've got some ideas. I think I'm going to do a big refactor on the layer code. The layer code is pretty solid. I can mess around with it quite a lot. As you can see, it does work. So it's not very flexible at the moment, and flexibility is the main thing for it. Um, so I like this system. I'm going to keep this system. Having this kind of config file where you can define the map stuff, but this needs to actually do something. Like kind of almost kind of this needs to run code instead of just setting up variables. It needs to run some code, which then sets some memory addresses instead. Which means I do need to kind of do quite a huge refactor. In the meantime, though, let's get the sprite palette, because I think that's the problem here is we don't have a sprite palette. So what we're seeing down at the bottom is that there's no palette loaded for the sprite. So although there are sprites down there, they're black, and so we don't see them. Um, so let's come in here. Let's copy this, and let's change this to load sprite palette. So the way this works is palettes have we have 4 palettes, and these values, the bit 6 and 7 say which palette is currently banked in to these locations at D100 and so on. And then what you do is you can set these other values here to say which palettes are being used by various points. This is the text palette. I believe this is the sprite palette, and this is the alternate palette. Let me just double check that. I think that's what it is. I do need to check it though. Actually, can't remember where the hell that. Oh yeah, it's in the memory map, isn't it? Of course it is. So no, that's not the memory map. Where's the memory map? There we go. Yeah. So oh no, I had it wrong. Okay, so this is the alternate palette. This is a sprite palette, and this is the this is the text palette that we're using. So to set the sprite palette, we need to set this value here. So that means we need to leave this one alone. And we're changing this one here, which means we're going to set this to sprite palette 1. We're going to set it to palette 1, sorry. Text is palette 0. And now anything we load in is going to be loaded into this location here. So we can load sprite palette in. I am going to put in this section here the debug thing that where was it? I removed it from somewhere. Here we go. This bit here. So if we're in debug, we just need to make sure that this color is always going to be white. The very last color is always going to be white, and that's because the debug panel sets that color to use the white. So actually, that was enabled. I don't know why that wasn't picking up. Maybe it's only because it's in the sprite palette. Yeah, that's probably what it is. All right. But then I would have thought this selected the same palette for everything. Oh no, that would have selected palette 1. Oh no, that should have selected the same. All right, okay. Don't know what that's about. Anyway, that will make sure that the last color is white if the debug is on. So in here we can do same thing. I'm actually going to use the same palette for now. It really doesn't matter. And we're just going to load it into the sprite palette. And then down here we just need to set this, which is going to define which things use which palettes. So text is right. First value here doesn't matter because that's whatever's banked in D100. We don't care about what's banked in because we've already done the setup here. We want to use this for the text palette. That's fine. We want to use this for the sprite palette, and this will be our alternate palette like that. In fact, that should probably go at the end here. Because there's no need for it to be be adjusted. It will always be that, I think. So let's give that a try, and hopefully we can see some sprites. If we don't see some sprites, then I need to have a think about why we're not seeing some sprites. And I think I just realized why we're not seeing sprites. Vodka. Cheers to vodka. Right, okay. So that hasn't worked, but I think the reason that's not worked is because, oh wow, it's because now what's happening is the debug panel is using sprite pointers for these sprites here that might not necessarily be at this location, right? This location could be anywhere in memory. So what this debug panel really does need to be at the end of memory, right? Which is what we had before. So we had this before, but the problem is if we try and load that now, it won't work. Because it's loading in too soon. So I need to load this in. This does need to be at the end of the code, unfortunately. I think there's no easy way around that. This is going to give me the device error again. Yeah, okay. And that's because this code needs to be in this location for these to work. And that's because the sprite pointers are set here based on the sprite data, but this needs to be in the right sprite bank for this to work. So maybe we can adjust the sprite bank or ensure that this set of pointers does not cross that boundary into a new bank. This here, it's tricky because I don't want this to be something that is particularly difficult to use. Let me do that. That will stop it crossing a bank. And I also don't want it to like suck memory up the moment you turn the debugger. I mean, obviously debugs tend to suck memory up, but I don't want it to use that much. So you set colors, set debug pointers, D060 CD. Is that the? Oh, that is the sprite pointers. Okay. Okay. What is going on here? This is a bit awkward. Flesh Placker, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the stream. He catches just at the end of the stream. Actually, I'm about to well, the end of the code stream. Anyway, I'm going to switch over to Resident Evil and play that for about an hour and a half or something. Oh, there we go. Now we have it at the bottom. Okay, that kind of works. That'll do. I mean, obviously the color is wrong for some reason. Not entirely sure why that is that color. It should be using D027. Yes, it should be using FF. But maybe, yeah, I don't know where it's getting that color from because that's not even in our that's not even in our bank of colors. So I have no idea how it's got that. Let's try setting 02, see what happens. I mean, it doesn't matter too much. It's a debug panel, so it's not really going to be used. Yeah, it doesn't need to be bug free or anything. But it would be good if I could guarantee what color it was going to be. See, now it's like on like a pink color. So I set the color to 02. Okay, yeah, that kind of matches that. So if I set let me try setting OE, and it should go green, hopefully. If that works, at least then I know that side is working. And then it just comes down to whether or not I can use more than 4 bits for color value, that is. Oh no, see, it's gone a light blue. Interesting. feel like that's not the right color for some reason. Let's just take a look in here. So 0E would be this one here. Wait. Yeah, okay. Wait, no, that doesn't make any sense. Because that's got completely the wrong colors in it. One, two, three, four. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 16 1 byte values, but these last two values 0, 0, 0, 0, CA 0, 0, which means it's red and no other color at 15, which is not right. That's this color here, right? No, it's not even that color. It's, yeah, I'm not even sure what's going on there. That's really weird. Oh yeah, that is that value. Okay. So for some reason that is that value. At 23. I don't think this palette is quite right. I think the palette is wrong here. But I do not know why. Oh, I know why. It's because it juggles the palette to make the tiles fit. That is why. That is why it's different. Okay. Okay. So let's do FE and let's try changing this to be FE. This should still be running, so I'm going to print debug colors. And then I think I'm going to stop the code after this test. So yeah, debug colors is loaded. Oh, that was wrong anyway. That should be FE. Oh, did that wrong. All right, let me load that again. Of course, it's going to be blue. It loaded completely the wrong thing in there. Still blue. For some weird reason, it's blue. Sprite palette, yeah. So it should be loading the sprite palette here. Oh, fuck. All right, there we go. I hadn't set which palette to use. So actually, this should probably be fine now. Let's put that back to FF. It's just a mistake on my behalf here. And then debug panel, FF. Right, hopefully we should see white now. Hey, Judge Dukes, how's it going? Just about to end the coding, but we are going to play some Resident Evil Village in a minute. So for those who don't want spoilers for Resident Evil Village, I would recommend not watching the next the next hour and a half or so. Okay, cool. That's working now. Okay, so we've got palettes working, we've got layers kind of working. I do need to adjust the code a little bit to deal with 16-bit map lengths and work out exactly how this wrapping is working. Not that the map would wrap anyway, but that's fine. All right, I'm going to take a quick couple of minutes break just to grab a bit of fresh air actually, because I'm feeling a bit stuffy in here. So I'm going to go and vape a little bit outside. Maybe go to the toilet, and then when I come back, we'll play some Resident Evil. So I'll set the stream title as well. So this is going to be your last chance to do the races. I am going to turn the races off after this, so you won't be able to see them at all. So this is your last opportunity. I'll leave them on for about 5 minutes. SIDS will go off as well. All the kind of overlay stuff will get turned off basically. So just be careful that you don't try and like submit. Do you still want to copy your files to a flash drive? I don't need to. I've already done it here. So So yeah, don't use any stream kind of stuff after any overlay commands after this, because you may just lose shimmer shillings for no reason or anything. You can still do gambles, but you won't be able to do overlay stuff. So gambles is stream elements. All right, back in a few minutes, guys. Be right back.